Welcome to the Saturday Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live all the way through till 6 o'clock, bringing you the best of the action from Scottish football with our reporters at the key games in the Scottish Premiership and bringing you reaction from the managers and the players. Tam McManus is alongside me as ever. We'll look ahead to the Viaplay League Cup final tomorrow between Celtic and Rangers and get Tam's thoughts as well as my own, just to annoy everybody on who we think is going to win this one. You can give us your view as well. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Quick summary of what's happening in the Scottish Premiership. Let's go to Pittodrie first of all. Aberdeen against Livingston. Adam Binney.
Half time here at Pittodrie Stadium. It's Aberdeen 1, Livingston 0, and it's a fantastic volleyed effort just 1 minute before half time from Bojan Miovski. That's the difference between these two sides at the minute. The table suggests 6th and 7th, these two teams are very evenly matched, and that's what we've seen in the first half. I had to wait until the 44th minute before either side had a shot on target. That was of course Miovski's goal. The ball was sent into the box from a corner, partially cleared by the Livingston rear guard, but it fell to Ryan Duncan on the right hand side. He sent it back into the box. It was then met by the head of Matty Pollock. He headed it on to Bojan Miovski, caught it with his right foot on the volley, far into the far corner. Fantastic strike to put the hosts in front. Should I see Livingston? They've only really looked like they could threaten from a corner or from a deep free kick. Some fantastic deliveries into the box from Sean Kelly, but nothing really threatening apart from that. Aberdeen look sharp on the counter. They're looking to use Duke's pace, but other than that, no chances to report, and it remains here at half time. Aberdeen 1, Livingston 0.
Yeah, interesting one there from Adam Binney. It's always, well, not only does he look cold, but I think he's highlighted the fact that goal scorers could be the key for anybody hoping to get into the top half. Yeah,
I think Duke in particular, Miovski, they're two guys that have scored a lot of goals for Aberdeen this season, and there could be the difference between them getting into 5th or 6th rather than finishing 7th or 8th. So, it looks as if they're quite comfortable in that game. I think a second goal would kill Livingston off, but as long as it's 1-0, I think that Livy are still in the game. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everyone for joining us as a regular feature now on a Saturday afternoon. And I have to say, tomorrow Joseph McGonigal's celebrating his 48th birthday. 48, love to be that again. Just a year ago though. Happy birthday to you, Joseph. If you can lie, so can I. I hope you have a great day. As far as elsewhere, the battle at the bottom, it's Ross County 2, Dundee United 0. Farcical is the only way I can sum this game up. Eamon Brophy's goal, the goalkeeper comes way out of his goal, he's never getting there. The defender then runs across, Charlie Mulgrew hits it off him, it goes to Brophy, he puts it into an empty net, and suddenly Ross County are 1 up. And then the second one is Jan Danda with a lovely shot from the edge of the box, 2-0, and United at 6th and 7th. Yeah, they are. Obviously, had a lot of problems last week with the goalkeeper, Birighetti. They've dropped him. They brought this other boy in today, Newman, who's had a nightmare for the first goal. So they've not got the problems to seek at the minute, Dundee United, in terms of goalkeepers. Big half-time team talk for Liam Fox. I said a couple of weeks ago that I thought it was a bit early for the shouts, for him to get sacked. But if they get out there and get beat 2 or 3-0 the day at Ross County, 3 defeats in a row, he's under serious pressure. The fans, I think that it's the fans, they're turned up in big numbers today, and they will let the team know and the owner know at the end of the game it's not good enough. Yeah,
the last thing you need is a week prior to it, the dreaded vote of confidence. Well, what's happening elsewhere in the Battle of the Saints? St Johnstone against St Mirren. Claire Kinnaird is there.
Half-time here at McDermott's Park, and it's St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 0. There was a chance for St Johnstone to go ahead within the first minute. Stevie May crossed the ball to Nicky Clark, who then just sent it slightly wide. And just a couple of minutes later, actually, there was a similar chance for St Mirren, with Thierry Small just sending that ball wide of the net. A cracking chance for St Johnstone as well, in the form of Adam Montgomery, who ran up the left side, crossed into Stevie May, headering it towards the net. Trevor Carson managing to deflect that one away. And of course, the big news in this game, just before the half-time mark, St Johnstone down to 10 men as Daniel Phillips gets sent off following a collision with Ryan Flynn. Half-time here at McDermott's Park, it's St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, absolutely. Red card, that puts them right behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, it does. I think St Mirren will fancy their chances now to go and win the game. That's obviously a big decision in the context just before half-time. I think by all accounts St Johnstone were the better team in the first half, but listen, St Mirren are playing against 10 men in the second half. They'll have most of the possession, most of the chances, I think St Johnstone, Callum Davidson will be happy with a point now, because to play for 45 minutes with 10 men is quite a long time.
Yeah, when a chairman or an owner decides to opt for a specific man to become the manager after a really good start, and there's been uncertainty over who was getting the Motherwell job, usually what happens then is when you're confirmed as manager, you start losing games. Well, that looks as if it's the way it's going after a first 45 minutes at Rugby Park with Patrick Mullen.
As I'm here at Rugby Park, and it's Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0. The only goal of this one coming in the 16th minute. It was a corner from Stuart Armstrong. The initial header was saved by Liam Kelly, but he could only parry that into the danger area. There is bodies everywhere trying to get a shot away, trying to clear it, but Scott Robinson steps up and slashes the ball home with his right foot. It's been a disappointing first half for Motherwell and Stuart Kettlewell. They have created absolutely nothing, no shots on target and no real chances. A big half-time team talk for him, but half-time here at Rugby Park, and it is Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0.
Yeah, so that's the story so far in the Scottish Premiership, ahead of the Viaplay League Cup final, which I think everybody's looking forward to. I'll tell you, on our feed today, although a lot of people will be talking about the games in their favourite clubs, there are a number of people who just will totally and utterly be looking towards the League Cup final, which we'll do a little later on in the programme.
Yeah,
it is an exciting time for it.
Yeah, listen, I think everybody's looking forward to the game. I think when you see two managers who want to go and attack and play in the front foot, go and press the other team, I don't see either manager or either team taking a backward step. I think it all has the makings of an open game. I think that, there's not going to be any. I don't think there's any defensive midfield players as such in either team. So I think that I think it's going to be an exciting game. There's going to be plenty of goals in the game, and as I said, hopefully we'll see it probably repeat ourselves today, that we're not talking about the referees on Monday. We're not talking about VAR decisions. We're talking about quality football, good goals, good games, and a great game of football. Yeah, half-time in the 4 Premiership matches at the moment. Aberdeen at half-time 1-0 up as we are into the second half now in that one. You can see Kilmarnock 1 goal up on Motherwell, Ross County 2-0 up on Dundee United. Is that going to be a difficult time for Liam Fox to try and explain that one away? Will the Dundee United owners look at his position seriously now? St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 0 with a red card in that match as well. And I think St Johnstone's Daniel Phillips has really put the home side under real pressure for the second 45. What about the Championship? Let's have a look at the scores from half-time there. It was Arbroath 0, Partick Thistle 0, Dundee 1, Inverness Cali Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Queen's Park 1, and Greenock Morton 0, Cove Rangers 1. So in the Championship, I mean, I'm looking at that scoreline there. It's like topsy-turvy non-stop between them. You can't, if it's Dundee, it's Queen's Park, it's switching all the time. There's no real consistency. I mean, look at Inverness. They get back into the Scottish Cup and the league form, you thought they were going to pick up from that. And 1 week to the next, I wouldn't put a bet on them with the bookies. No, Inverness, they're struggling in the league. I think that was an anomaly, that result against Livingston, 3-0. Their form's been poor in the league, and I think Billy's under a little bit of pressure up there. Listen, it's a big game for Dundee and for Queen's Park. It looks as if both of those two are going to, cut themselves free from the pack. United drew last night, but I think the one surprising result in that league at the minute is Cove getting beating Morton away from home. Yeah, I think that Morton have beat Dundee and Queen's Park back to back at home, and I think a lot of people would have had Morton in their coupon today. So. There's still time to come back from it, but I think that could be a shock result. Cove Rangers beating Morton.
Yeah, absolutely. And elsewhere, at the moment in League One, Airdrieonians 1, Falkirk 1, it was Alloa 0, Montrose 0, Edinburgh 1, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, Kelty Hearts 1, and Queen of the South 0, Dunfermline 1.
Again, Dunfermline and Falkirk, it seems to be every week. That there's plenty of goals in their games. They're exciting. But as I say, the Falkirk drop points and Dunfermline win.
Kyle Benedictus has just made it 2-0 for Dunfermline.
Yeah, you would think they would go and win the game now, and that puts the pressure on Falkirk away to Airdrie, who are a good side. So, no, it's exciting between the two of them, but Dunfermline just can't get away. They can't get that 7-10 points clear Falkirk keep nipping back at them, but that could be a big day in the title race.
Yeah, Albion Rovers 0, Annan Athletic 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stenhousemuir 0. Draws all round here. Dumbarton 1, Elgin 1, Forfar 0, Stirling 0, and then Stranraer 1, East Fife 0 is the only one which has a team out in front. That was Stranraer. So that's how it looks right across Scottish football at the moment. Thank you to so many of you for joining us here. And I think one of them was a belter of a line from Brian. He says, afternoon, it's tea, soup and crusty bread watching you guys. Now, I don't know about you, but I couldn't think of anything better sitting alongside Brian.
Homemade
crusty
soup.
Bread. Yeah.
Lentil soup.
Yeah. Can I just say it's a goal for Airdrie 1, Falkirk 2.
That's what I say. The two of them just keep winning every week. They just keep putting the pressure on Dunfermline. But if both of them win, then that gap, I think, remains at 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, Kai Kennedy scoring the goal there. The other thing I was going to say to you, never mind, Brian there with the soup. Tomorrow is one of those days. If you're not going to the game, and obviously our reporters are going to be out there at Hampden for it, it's Michael Jackson Thriller. I always like to say to you, it's a wee bit of popcorn, and it's just watch the whole thing unfold tomorrow. Today, it's all about, I think, looking at Dingwall and wondering what's going to happen between Ross County and Dundee United. If Liam Fox is doing anything worth his salt at half time and now into the second half, he's got to hope that there's something from his side to show a bit of fight. Whether that happens or not is another matter. Lots of people joining us on the programme. Thank you very much. And of course, Jason Craig is right. He says the big game in England, West Ham against Nottingham Forest. I hate to say it, my old pal Davy Moyes, they reckon he's under severe pressure. This could be the breaking point.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think if he lost to Nottingham Forest today, I think he would probably lose his job. That's just such an enormous game. Listen, we know the riches at stake in the Premier League. If you drop out of that Premier League, you'll lose an awful lot of money. I seen QPR sacked their manager the other day after 12 games. Colo Touré lasted about 8 games in the Championship. So in England, if you're not doing well, the owners just go at chop, get somebody else in, even if it's 10, 15 games. So Davy Moyes will be hoping to. That's a big game for them. They've got to pick up 3 points against Forest at home.
Yeah, there's not a single goal in the English Premier League. It's a poor league, isn't it? Yep. Anyway, I have to tell you, the ball is in the back of the net for Ross County, and there's now a VAR check. So suddenly we're in a situation where 3-0 down. It looks as if he could be on the end of a hammering as well.
It's looking grim. If that goal stands, I think at half time Dundee United fans would have expected him to come out, fired up after getting a rollicking off the manager. If you come out straight away and lose a goal, then I think that tells you everything you need to know about Dundee United's players at the minute and the manager. I don't think they're playing for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, 1:30 tomorrow, as well as the Scottish League Cup final, the English League Cup final, but at 1:30 there will be another English Premier League match, Tottenham against Chelsea. The reason I mention it is because, quite simply, Tam, as we are reporting on the goals going in here, lots of goals determine someone's future, and I just found it disturbing that Graham Potter, his family, his children, there's been death threats towards them. That is absolutely despicable, and you hope that the police can track these people down.
Yeah, I think social media, that is the dark side of it, isn't it, Peter? I think that people can write what they want. They can hide behind fake profile pictures, and just write whatever they want to people, whether it be Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever it is. So no, it's out of order. Listen, he's a football manager. Football's no life and death, and fans get frustrated with the team, and I know Chelsea are not doing well at the minute, but to send death threats to someone hoping they die or their family dies, it's completely out of order. And you're right, I feel as if I've been saying this for 3 or 4 years. There's got to be a tracker on it, a trace. You can go and track these people down, and the police chat their door and ask them about their and nick them. So no, I think I want to see Graham Potter doing well. Actually, I like him. I think he comes across a decent guy. I'd like to see him doing well at Chelsea, but that's completely bang out of order.
Yeah, absolutely. For the benefit of some of our younger viewers who haven't watched the Sweeney, nick them means being arrested. I just love the way some of your old school lines come out. Brilliant. You can't take the boy out of, where is it? Balornock. Can't take the boy out of Balornock. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I thought Graham Potter was brilliant walking into the press conference yesterday, and he said, sorry I'm late, guys. I was at a crisis meeting, because there's always a crisis.
It's a gallows humour, isn't it?
It really is. You've got to have that, because everybody looks at the whole situation, in football. It's just it's a crazy situation with some fans who just cannot at the best of times, put things in perspective. It's only a game, it's only sport, and it's certainly not something that you should get so head up that you abuse people. And we often mention that. I know a lot of people actually are pig sick of me mentioning it on the programme, but I think there's a necessity for the people who are thoroughly decent to have a raised voice about how to conduct themselves. And I do hope that's the same situation when we go into the big match tomorrow as well. Inverness 1, Dundee 1. That's 1-1 now in that match. I can tell you that the Ross County goal was disallowed after a VAR check. So I think Chris Andrews says, "Hi Peter, any trouble at the Old Firm match last night?" I don't think so. The Celtic women won it by 3-0. A very convincing one at that. 2 similar goals with a head. Our reporter Kerry was there at that match, and Celtic won comfortably. And they go top of the table on goal difference, albeit Glasgow City could go back again on top. And there's a small matter of an Edinburgh derby to look forward to this weekend as well.
Yeah, I think that obviously the fact that Celtic and Rangers are now full time now, and they're attracting international players to the team. There seems to be a little bit of a gap development between Celtic, Rangers, Glasgow, and the rest. The Hibs are always traditionally up there, but they're finding it hard to compete with Celtic Rangers at the minute with the amount of money they're paying players. So. No, I think that's a great result for Celtic women last night. I think Rangers, Malky Thompson's the coach there.
Yep.
I know Malky. Malky very well. He was my youth coach at Hibs. Good pals with big Alec McLeish and Andy Watson. I think he's Alec McLeish's cousin actually, Malky. And good coach, good guy. So he'll not be happy with that, getting beat 3-0 last night off of Celtic.
Yeah, Leicester 0, Arsenal 1, latest score there in the English Premier League. I think the goal's been scored by Martinelli. Elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership, the big news is at Dingwall, where Ross County are leading by 2-0. No goals between St Johnstone and St Mirren. Daniel Phillips has been red carded in that match. Scott Robinson's goals, the difference between Kilmarnock and Motherwell down there at Rugby Park, and Bojan Miovski has scored the goal for the Dons just before half time. Queen's Park, it's Hamilton 0, Queen's Park 2 now, and Hamilton have been going well of late under John Rankin, but Aaron Healy's just added the second one for Queen's Park.
Yeah, they have. I think they're unbeaten in about 5 or 6 games in the league, so that'd be a great result. Queen's Park are not in the best of form despite being top of the league. They've not been in great form at the minute, so that could be a massive moment, a massive day at the top of the championship with Dundee drawn. Queen's Park will go further clear. Yeah,
there's a lot of moves that we do make, Tam, which you'll see change in the next couple of months about our own fashion wear, which obviously we've got the shop.
Slaughtered.
Well, no, we've got the shop.
It's on the day. That's not bad, by the way.
It's not bad. I know actually.
Somebody must have bought you that. No way you paid that.
No, because I had to wash my PLZ gear. So, and with that in mind, that's exactly what I was going to talk to you about, because we've got some great. We made our PLZ shirts, the Bill Shankly training tops, which are great, red, black, blue and green, and also we've got some brilliant canvases, prints and t-shirts of 20 legends, from Maradona to Dalglish to Ronaldo, Davy Cooper, you name it, Jimmy Johnson, they're all in there. So there's a really good range on our shop. You can get it on the app or on the website, but Rab says, can you bring out some PLZ clothing merch for people in hot countries, preferably trunks? So PLZ,
You got a model?
Budgie smugglers. Yeah, absolutely right. I think we can do that. So what about the quiz? I'm a wee bit delayed, but we're right into all the scores for you. So what about the quiz? Let's have a look and see if you can come up with this. How many times have each side won the Scottish League Cup? Rangers and Celtic. Who's won it the most? Give us the answer. How many times have Rangers won it? How many times have Celtic won it? If you are at this point doing that on your computer, then you've lost, Tam. There's no point in that. You've got to have a guess.
You've got to have a guess. You can't Google it. There's no fun in that at all. But that just brings back bad memories. It'll be 20 years next year. We lost to Livingston and we actually beat Celtic and Rangers in the quarters and the semis.
Yeah.
To beat off Livingston in the final. I think that's next year. So I'm not looking forward to Livingston's 20th anniversary next year. It'll bring back. some painful memories from it.
Jason Craig says, I'm going to be buying one of your PLZ tops next month, lads. Well done, Jason. We're absolutely delighted there. Absolutely.
Not bad for
belter. Well, I was going to say to you, they get shut up. You're going to get knocked out. They're actually very well priced, Jason, I have to say. And
Just me too,
that's because you took about 5 of them. But I have to say to you that great for training, good for a wee night out, casual, good to wear.
They're good. I wore them at the golf.
They're really good quality.
Waterproof as well. They're good for the 5 size, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So well done to you, Jason. The other thing, I might as well mention it to him because I was at his 50th birthday last night. So it was really good. Gordon Miller, who is the owner of 40 Clothing. It was his 50th birthday last night, and it was a good laugh, because
I didn't know they were a Scottish company, 40.
Yeah, really good lads. Lots of guys who are friends of our family who set it all up. They all used to work in Cruise, moved over to 40, set up their gear, and it was funny. It's funny because they were in there last night.
A few quid.
The music was absolutely pumping out, and that way when they all get to 50, they still think they're the business. And I stood there and I thought, there's one in his Stone Island gear, there's another one in his tight.
They get the badge in.
Oh, the whole thing, and I thought to myself, have a word with yourselves, you're 50 now.
Cruise, I used to get to Cruise at the end of the month all the time when I was at Hibs, got all the top gear.
Tam, Ross County 3, Dundee United 0, Jordan White. I think we're now at the point where
he could get the bullet tonight.
Yeah,
he could get the sack.
It's a sad situation, but I'm not going to pull any punches on this, Tam. You are talking about a club that desperately don't want to go down, and for the owner to turn around and say we'll bounce back, that's a defeatist attitude right away.
Cost him some amount of money if he's thinking that way.
Yeah.
I would be thinking financially it'd be an absolute crucifix.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's thinking, we'll come straight back up. A year in the Championship.
No.
The money you would lose.
You wouldn't want that, by the way. And of course, I hate to, say this, but Dundee United, some people get offended if you say it, but I think Dundee United are a Premier League club. You want them in there.
Absolutely. You want Dundee in there as well. I was lucky enough to play. I was lucky enough to play in a couple of derby games, and the atmosphere was tremendous. Full houses, and they've always been great games to watch. They're right next to each other. Dundee's a big football city, so you want both of them. But both of them might be playing the Championship next year at this rate. Yeah,
I'm sorry to Paul Brady who says, sorry Peter, you just gave me a really terrible picture in my head of Tam Cowan and Ruffian Budgie smugglers with the PLZ logo. So don't worry about that. We're not doing a range for them. That's
not a nice sight, that.
Yeah, you want to break it to them? Anyway, thank you for that. The Championship is a tough division, Peter says Gallant. You're absolutely right. I just would not want to be trying to get into that next season.
The Queen's Park.
And I actually think, by the way, that Tam, the next couple of years, I don't know, I hope there's a shift in attitude. I've certainly, tomorrow it's something that I think would be really good for everybody to tune in to PLZ Soccer tomorrow. The 1-to-1 is released tomorrow morning with Alan Burrows, who is going to become the new Chief Executive of Aberdeen. And I was sitting down with him for an hour-long special, My Story, which is another feature on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Lots of great content coming. And Alan just was talking about the fact that more and more of the chairman, chief executives, owners are starting to realise that it's a good product. It's superbly supported by so many in Scotland, and we need to promote it more. And I think there'll be a shift and a change. He went through all that, talked about his personal problems that he had with the family. Of course, a difficult time. It was a really moving, emotional time. A lot of fun in there, chatting to him about all the stuff that he got on at Motherwell and his hopes and ambitions for Aberdeen. Of course, I did ask him what was the toughest time at his time at Motherwell over the 16 years, and I think from his own perspective, the difficulty would have been Phil O'Donnell. But really interesting. Have a little listen.
I think you've seen recently the news that came out that Scotland is absolutely blowing everybody away in terms of the per head of capita population on attendance figures. Even if you take out Rangers and Celtic, I think we dropped from 1 to 3. So that shows you that even in absence of Rangers and Celtic, which is sometimes the accusation thrown back at that it's topped up by Rangers and Celtic, that actually the Scottish football generally is in a good place, it's a good healthy spot. But I just think at times we undersell ourselves, and I actually think sometimes the people who are most guilty of that are the clubs themselves and the people that work for the clubs themselves. Whereas if you look at examples elsewhere, and you only need to look across the border at our cousins in England, or you look across the pond at MLS and how they're building that brand there. What those two leagues have in common, one's an established one, one's a kind of evolving one, is both of them do a very good job of selling what it is that's good about their league.
Well, he's a sharp cookie. I've always had a lot of time for Alan Burrows, and I think Motherwell's loss is almost certainly Aberdeen's gain.
Yeah, I think he always speaks well. He's obviously a huge Motherwell fan. I think the time for him is to move on and go for a different challenge. I think he'll get a massive challenge at Aberdeen. He's obviously right into the frying pan into the fire in terms of a new manager. He'll chat about that tomorrow, but he's got a big decision to make, right away, right off the bat, in terms of a new manager. Barry Robson, they're winning. Obviously, they're winning just now. Do they give him the job to the end of the season and remember get something done at the end of the season? But I think a lot of other managers might be available. Or do they do it now? I don't know what they're going to do, but I know he's talking about the MLS there. He's totally right there. I know Alan's a huge fan of MLS. I've spoke to him about the MLS before. The MLS sell their product amazingly well.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously, you see that with American owners coming into Scotland. But I think that you're right. We've got to try and, our product's got to be out there for everyone to see. And I don't think it is at the minute, which is lack of sponsorship, lack of, a main sponsor in the league. So I think if we can get that, if we can get the product out worldwide, like the MLS is at the minute, then I think the sky's the limit for Scottish football.
Yeah, we do have a sponsor in Cinch. It's just not everybody's on board with it at the moment. I take your point though. We really have to, my personal opinion is it shouldn't be just one main sponsor. We should have 4 or 5 absolute biggies that are there, and the players are all there to do a job for them at some point or other, and promote it, gloss it up, make it appealing, get families out there, try and eradicate the lunacy that goes on with some fans who tarnish the game, and I think we'd be there. On the point of Dundee United, possibly going out of the division, and indeed the aspirations of Aberdeen, if it was me personally, I'm just saying personally, I think Aberdeen, if they really want to have a go and change the mindset, I would go for Neil Lennon. That's me personally. I think he didn't become a bad coach overnight. I thought a lot of things at Celtic derailed him, including a bit of mutiny among the players. The chief executive's already, the former chief executive has already come out and explained his part in the whole thing as well. I think he was good. He was a good coach when they beat Lazio home and away. And he's won consecutive titles, cups, you name it, with Celtic in both 2 spells. He had silverware in his cabinet. So, and I liked what he did at Hibs. I don't know about you, but I think apart from the baggage that comes with him, and we all know that, I think Neil's got something to offer.
Yeah, I think he has. Whether the Aberdeen fans will want Neil Lennon is another matter. But in terms, if you strictly look at his profile as a manager, I think his profile is very good. His record's very good. Celtic, Hibs, I watched a lot of Hibs when he was there. Listen, Alan Stubbs couldn't get them out the Championship. They brought Neil Lennon in. Bang, he got them straight up.
4-0.
I think he could be. I think he's gone, Peter.
Eamon Brophy.
I think he's gone. I think if it's a 4 or 5, I thought that in the car coming. If that's a 4 or 5, he's out the door. But going back to Neil Lennon, I think he ticks a lot of boxes, but I don't think he's back in the country for tax reasons or something till April. Is that right? So whether they give Barry Robson the job to end of the season and then they give it to Neil Lennon, but I think Neil's got to be in the he's got to be in the shortlist. He's
got to be the only manager I know that everybody knows his tax reasons. I mean, it's outrageous, isn't it? Why are you still in Cyprus? Come back! Well, listen, if it's not...
You got me with him as well.
Yeah, he's won a cup.
He got them into the Europa League, was it? And
played Man United.
I've seen him a few times and they're very competitive. So, and won the Cypriot Cup. So, no, I think I like Neil. I think he's a good manager. And I think that's a job that he would like to get his teeth in. I think he'd relish the prospect of getting Aberdeen back in the big time and really competing at the top end again.
Yeah, I cannot believe that scoreline. It's absolutely incredible what's happening there. Aberdeen still leading by that Miovski goal to 0. Killie a goal up at Rugby Park against Motherwell. But Ross County 4-0 up now on Dundee United. It really is. Backs against the wall. I think the whole collapse, you can tell that he's not getting anything out of that side. What do you think about it? Is it the end for Liam Fox at the end of the game tonight? Will the axe finally fall on him? He's under pressure. He knows he's under pressure. But of course, this is a game where the owner has come out and said, no, Tony Asghar's safe, and so is Liam Fox. They're going to stand by them. It's always...
And I spoke about Tam Coates the other day. He's still sitting, waiting for a job. I think they've got a ready-made replacement. If you pull the trigger on Fox, I think that Tam Coates would come back to Dundee United.
Do you think he's the person to come back?
I think he's the person to come back.
Yeah?
I do, aye. I think that, listen, he done brilliant. We've got them into Europe.
Yeah.
You know, and introduced a lot of young players. Took a great opportunity in Hungary, didn't work out, but I think if they pull the trigger on Liam Fox, he's out of a job at the minute. But he come in and steady the ship to the end of the season and try and save them. Yes, for me. Okay,
interesting point, Tam. I'm not sure. It's not that I disagree with you. I think I wonder what their direction is long term.
I'm just talking about short term, Peter. Just to try and keep them in division.
I actually think they're rudderless at the moment. I think the spending, the recruitment, and the reward that's come back from the players that they bought has been poor. You know,
listen, they signed Stephen Fletcher, Charlie Mulgrew, Tony Watt. You know, you're going to try and tell me that they three are not on big money. They've got to be on big money.
Absolutely,
up there.
And that's the problem. But the other players,
who's the boy they signed in the middle of the park? Young boy for
Levitt.
Yes.
Yeah.
They gave him a 2-year deal, and there was a load of clubs after him. They gave him a 2-year deal, thinking we'll sell him or whatever. I don't think he's been great either. So there's a big wage bill up there at Dundee United, and they're seriously underachieving at the minute.
West Ham 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Yeah, good.
I hate to be biased, but I'm absolutely delighted for them.
Yeah, it was a must-win game, I think, for West Ham, and that should be them home and hose now, and takes the pressure off Moisey a wee bit.
I'll tell you, David Russell's got a really good point, by the way. He says Malky Mackay to Dundee United. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he'd like to win with Ross County to keep them up, and then head to Dundee United as a manager, you know, to try and get them back up if they indeed are going that way. But certainly looks like it. I can't see anything in that side that says goals to me.
Nah, I think they're struggling. And as I said, listen, we talk about Malky again with the baggage with Malky Mackay, but I think that where's his ceiling at Ross County? You know, he finished nearly off the top 6 last year, and he's keeping in the division this year. He's lost a few big players.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of this season, does he think, right, I need to go and do something else? You know, can I just keep punching above my weight at Ross County, and Dundee United are obviously a bigger club?
Yeah, sometimes you've got to leave on the when it's just that right time, when your stock is high. Let me just at this point say you haven't forgotten about the competition. We've posted out to all our winners over the last few weeks their competition prizes, and the amount of people who are absolutely delighted with their winning prize and sending lovely messages back to us. Thank you for that. What about this week's competition? Still time to get your hands on this brilliant replica World Cup winning shirt of Messi's.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. You can win this Lionel Messi Argentina World Cup winning replica jersey by answering this simple question. Who did Argentina defeat in the 2022 World Cup final? Post your answers in the comments section below. If you want to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck indeed. We'll hear from Adam a little later on. It's Airdrie 1, Falkirk 3. So I think the Falkirk fans will be in a good mood. Good mood for me going there.
Next Friday. Flying. They're going really well. Two of them are. It's just going to be, if they left it too late to go on the run, because Dunfermline seem to be consistently winning as well.
Yeah, I like James McPake though. He's a good lad. We've had him.
I like James and I like McGlynn. I think that both of them are good managers, and both of them, you know, I think they're better than League One.
Yep. And somebody's just saying, can you put your name into the competition if you've already won? Well, I don't pick the competition. It's randomly picked. Thankfully for that, somebody hands me a name, hands me their address.
Somebody can't win it twice.
Well, I'm not saying they can't win it twice, but at the end of the day, if anybody who's been in it, you know, shares it and then subscribes and tells their mates to subscribe, you never know. Maybe their mate will win it. Who knows? But thankfully, I don't have to pick it, because I don't want too many things for people to cane me about. You know, I wonder whose turn it is this week to get battered, Tam. There's always somebody who's getting battered. Well, hopefully, with a bit of luck, because as long as it's not me. But that's the nature of what we're talking about. St Johnstone have scored 10 men as well. You know, this is a big one. Zach Rudden has come on as a sub, and he's contributed after Saints managed to get him. Yeah, that could be a massive goal. 10 men. I'm just hoping that St Mirren can find an equaliser, because I've got one each in the predictor. Yep. Have you? Oh, I hope. Come on, just hold on. I've got St Johnstone 1-0.
I've got Kilmarnock to win. I've got Ross County to win.
Yeah, Jason Craig says, Peter, are you here for the whole Gothenburg weekend? Well, Jason, you better believe I'm going to be up there for for as much of that weekend as I can. Always like a good wee weekend out somewhere. Have you had a weekend in Aberdeen before?
I've not really ever been out in Aberdeen. Oh, I have actually. I tell a lie. I went up and played the Trump Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I played a charity thing for Funding Neuro. Went up and played, and we stayed up. It was about 15, 16 years for Glasgow. Went up in the coach.
Yeah.
Played Trump. It was a horrendous day. It was the hardest course I've ever played. Don't know if any of them have played at Trump International. And we went out in Aberdeen after it. Went to Club Tropicana or something. Some mad place.
Yeah.
80s and all that, but a good time.
It had to be 80s.
That's the only time I've been out in Aberdeen actually.
Yeah, I think, no, I've been up there for a good few weekends, always a good laugh. And of course, the other thing is, Jason's just said he's going to take me for a pint. Just one. Have a long hard look at yourself.
That will be just one, by the way, Jason.
Yeah, I know, I'm a two-can dad.
Absolute lightweight.
I know,
Disgrace.
I am really sorry for being someone who keeps himself sane.
It was a bar, I remember before we went to the night out, we walked in. We walked in, they grilled at us, that pub. What pub was it? Q Vadis or something, was it?
Quo Vadis, yeah.
Quo Vadis.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where, you know, when Wayne and Garth walk into that pub in Wayne's World and everybody's wearing leather and they all just stopped and had a look, and I felt as if the two of us would just start dancing.
I thought we were going to get done in.
No, we weren't going to get done in.
All right, the guys were
I
right.
actually like, I mean, the great thing about going into pubs like that is because everybody's football fans is the reason why I don't drink and very rarely throughout a year is because of the fact that I used to hang about nightclubs in Glasgow and Edinburgh and go around Great Britain. Scan the place. Always scan the place to see who's going to kick off, who's likely to be nuts and start a fight, and then if I know I'm safe, Tam, then everybody else can come in and we can enjoy ourselves. But that's not going to be the case in Aberdeen because we've got John McMaster on the YouTube.
You brought it up there.
John McMaster, the Gothenburg Great feature is brilliant. We've got more from the Gothenburg heroes on this show coming up, which I think you'll really want to get involved in because it's really, really good stuff. Hamilton 1, Queen's Park 4. I think that game's done and dusted for Owen Coyle's side now. Yeah, so if you want, John McMaster's on there, and it's a brilliant hour of him talking about his time with Fergie, the great players they played alongside, the run to Gothenburg to take on Real Madrid and eventually defeat them, and then of course, go on to win the European Super Cup as well. So. It's a great trip down memory lane, and John McMaster's got all these medals in the studio that day. It was just superb. So it's well worth you watching. And as we mentioned, tomorrow morning at I think it's 9 o'clock maybe, Alan Burrows, a 1-to-1 with
Aberdeen
the
fans will watch that.
Well, new chief executive of Aberdeen. It's well worth it.
Totally.
And for Motherwell fans, it's a good listen to hear his thoughts as well. And Danny says to us, imagine bumping into Peter in the Hacienda in Manchester back in the day, which I'm glad you said that, Danny, because when I was down in Manchester, my mate...
You were a DJ, weren't you?
Yeah, many moons ago.
The dance music and all that?
Yeah, heavy dance music.
Can't imagine it now.
You can't imagine it now, can you? But many years ago, before I got into journalism, my mates and I used to tour Great Britain, and my mates were all the stewards, the security for all the big nights. So we used to go out and see Stone Roses. We saw Electronic, New Order, all of those bands. So absolutely magnificent. Loved it. You know.
You can play the decks now, on it?
Yeah. Off.
You got decks in the house?
I've got decks. Yeah. Never throw your records away, Tam. You never know when this whole thing could go pear-shaped.
you're a holder, but you?
Oh my God!
You don't throw anything out.
No, absolutely
Wasn't in there.
Well, if it was up to my wife, she'd sell everything that I possessed, including my valued strips that we have.
What's your most valuable thing you think you've got?
The most valuable thing?
The most valuable thing in your possession you think you could sell?
Oh, well, I could sell about a wad of it.
The one thing that you think...
The one thing I think there would be a stampede for would be three things. I had a 1-to-1 with Pelé, and nice strip with Pelé signed it for me. So that was absolutely fantastic. Ronaldinho's Champions League shirt, I think, is right up there. Steve Archibald's original Barcelona top's a good one.
Right.
But I think the ultimate one, apart from the 19 Henrik Larsson shirts from his entire career, I think the Celtic and Inter Milan top, signed by Tommy Gemmell, Steve Chalmers, and Alessandro Mazzola.
Right.
So I think a Celtic strip and an Inter Milan strip signed by all three players who scored in the game. I don't know many people who could turn around and say they've got that. Do you?
That'd be worth a few bob.
And of course, the one that I think lots of people would like would be Bertiold's 1969 Scottish Cup final shirt.
Right, you've got that and all.
That's a belter.
Sign it for you.
Yep. 6 weeks before, sadly, Bertie passed away. We did we didn't do an interview. What we did was tell him to come in. He was just, his son said, Bertie would love to come over and see the studio, and I went, great, come over. And we sat here, had coffee, and we chatted about everything. Great games, a lot. He loved it. So
Wee guy Bertie old. My dad's a season ticket holder at St Roch's.
Yeah.
And wee Bertie was always up at St Roch's games.
Gallant says, Peter, what's your address? Thankfully,
I don't know what it is, mate. I know what his strip is.
Thankfully, all of that stuff is locked away.
I'm going to Walnut Crew up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Best place I'm going over.
Knowing the Balornic Crew as I do, I'll get my 7 sisters to leather them. What about the scores, Tam? I think the big story is up at Dingwall. I think 4-0 against Ross County is just a no-no. No disrespect to Ross County.
I mean, that's a big game at the bottom of the league. And you're going up there, I said it yesterday in the show, you've got to go up there and get something out the game. To go up there and get hammered 4-0 is completely unacceptable. And listen, he might pay his job tonight. I mean, that's a sackable result, that.
Remember you were talking about how it could all turn on its head. Morton 2, Cove Rangers 1.
Oh, the boys will be happy with that one. The Cooten ball, get the ton, what a ton.
Crawford scored that. I'll tell you who's doing it.
A good signing for him by on loan, Robbie Crawford.
I was
Great
just about
signing.
to say, but
I'm talking about Ali Crawford. Ali Crawford just signed.
Dougie Emery's such a good lad.
He's doing well with them, by the way.
Yeah.
They're going really, really well. I don't think he's got a big budget down there.
No, he hasn't.
They were unfancied. I think they were 25-1, 33-1 to win it.
But you know what's good about Dougie? A spade's a spade.
Aye.
The guy you met as a youngster, as I knew as a youngster.
I think his instructions would be pretty clear.
Oh, fantastic.
The name is the book.
There's no need for 7 extra words when one profanity will do, just to tell you how you're playing, which is magic. So, absolutely brilliant. Love Dougie. And also, Gallant says, I think I'm going to be your bogus gas man. Chap the door. I think I know what Gallant does for a living. Anyway, it's a Saturday afternoon. We do value you sharing the stream, telling everybody exactly when we're on, 4 o'clock till 6. It's certainly a joy for us to interact with a lot of you, posting your messages. Tell us how you think the teams are going to play tomorrow, who you think is going to start. And of course, we'll hear from Michael Beale and Ange Postecoglou a little later on in the show when we look in depth at Rangers against Celtic. And also, David Russell says, when are PLZ buying a Lowland League team? We're going to start in the next couple of months, Tam. I don't know if you're aware of it. I've actually had a chat with all the boys, and we're going to start our 11 and 5-a-side team back up.
Let's get the games going again.
West Ham 4, Nottingham Forest 0. That's a big confidence booster. Mikel Antonio, who, I don't know about you, Tam, but there are certain players that I look at them and I think if I tried to tackle them, I'd bounce right off them, because he is absolutely built like a brick building. See how I changed it there?
He's a thing. That's some result for West Ham, and as I said, that just eases the pressure on them a wee bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew Taggart says, Peter, do you read out Celtic fans' messages? Yeah, I read out all of them. What I try to do is I try to sift out some of the nutcases that just give us pelters. But yeah, you can give us pelters as well, Tom. I think we're thick-skinned, aren't we?
Aye, we don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a goal at Annan. Albion Rovers 0, Annan 1. Big goal for Josh Galloway.
That's a big goal. Albion Rovers are quite fast time of day, but a good result for Annan.
Yeah,
we had a 2-goal lead last week against Stirling Albion, against 10 men, so that'd be a big bounce back for Annan.
Yeah, the big scoreline at the moment at Dingwall, Ross County leading Dundee United by 4-0. It's an absolute hammering. Aberdeen still ahead in their match up there at Pittodrie against Livingston. Kilmarnock still ahead against Motherwell and St Johnstone.
Big great result with 10 men, and that would
10 men, 1-0 up.
That would eradicate all their relegation fears. That would bring them well clear.
Yeah.
The bottom, and then I think you've got a straight race between the teams that's down there, the four.
Well, I was just looking at it and I was thinking to myself, the big games coming up, that clubs around each other would want to try and pick up points to try and avoid
Two
this.
big games in it, Kilmarnock, Motherwell and Ross get us the bottom four basically.
It's massive,
bottom four.
So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens over the next few weeks. Some of them are desperately trying to get those points on the board so that they can just get away. And I think St Johnstone, if they can hold on to that advantage, they certainly will be feeling good about themselves. We'll be keeping you up to date also about not only the Viaplay League Cup final in Scotland, but the Carabao League Cup final in England is taking place. Manchester United, who are used to winning cups, Newcastle United, the whole city will need to close down, and then there will need to be, and I'm not sure Brexit will allow it, Tam, but they'll need to get extra drink in to supply the city as it goes dry 24 hours later.
Run
if
it
they
at Newcastle
win.
Brownell. Listen, I'd love to see Newcastle win. I really would.
Yeah.
Listen, I think they're a fantastic football club. Those supporters, I think the last time they were in a final was when Man United won the treble. It's a long time. I'd love to see the people of Newcastle, open top bus going through there, with the trophy. It'd be absolutely amazing. I've seen a lot of clips on social media, all the Newcastle fans travelling down to Wembley. Planes, trains and automobiles to get down there, and I'd love to see Newcastle win it, but they're not going to.
Yeah, okay. Usually I say Alex Gogic yellow card or slightly more than that, but it's Alex Gogic goal, one each.
What the predictor? He's got one each.
St Johnstone 1, St Mirren 1. So that's back on level.
I've seen him scoring one goal for Hibs. It was one of the best goals I've ever seen. He nearly burst the net.
Yeah.
I bet it's a cracker. I've not even seen it. I bet it's not a tap in.
Yeah,
He's probably a tap in.
he's a hardy boy though. I'd like,
He is,
I don't know about you, Tam, but I like a midfield. This is why the big debate later on will be the Lundstrom debate for Rangers and that predicted starting 11. We just take a guess at it, but this is why I like somebody with a bit of metal in there, because it allows the crafty players, the players who've got that ability to pick passes, to feel confident there's somebody either sitting and I like Gogic, providing he just screws the nut, can be effective.
He is. I think he's a decent player. I've seen a lot of him working with Hibs TV. I've seen him for 2 seasons, and I think he's a kind of underrated player. He goes in there, he puts his foot in, he's a decent footballer. And as you say, he breaks the play up and gives the ball to the more creative players. At that time it was Scott Allen at Hibs, and you appreciate playing with guys like that. I played with a guy called Matthias Jack at Hibs. Some of the listeners might remember him. Again, just no frills. Went in, put his foot in, gave the ball to Russell Lappy, gave the ball to Frank Sosie.
Yeah.
Guys that could go and play, and you need a guy like that in your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And another little point that I was going to say is thank you to so many people who are consuming a lot of our content. There's a fabulous feature coming up with Adam Binney next week that you can look forward to. We've already mentioned to you that Alan
And
Burrows...
there's a slow motion of Adam's hair, you told me earlier.
Honestly, you've got to see it, by the way. It's
can't wait to see
absolutely
this. I'm
priceless.
going to hammer him.
He's done a brilliant feature with a boy who was a professional footballer who decided to give it all up for a career elsewhere, training and telling people how to become good at training and enhance their football skills. Sam Wardrop's his name. He's a big YouTuber, and Adam caught up with him, but there is a slow-mo piece where Adam's running and it's slow and the hair is swept back slowly.
Can't wait
and I
to see
think
it.
when you see that, you will come in and you will give him, or you'll...
I'm going to hammer him.
Yeah, you'll...
Just hammer him anyway, but I'm going to hammer him.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss Gabs, do you? Because he was an easy target, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, until he went to Sleepy Radio. Anyway, apart from that, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our Saturday show. We're getting ever closer now to full time, Tam, where I clearly, it doesn't take a Philadelphia lawyer to work out that the Dundee United fans will be waiting outside that door to give the players and the manager what for.
He's going to get absolutely slaughtered. Particularly if it remains, it's going to be 4-0. And I think he's going to struggle to come back for this, Peter. I think he's going to struggle to survive this tonight. And I don't know. As I said, Tam Court's a past manager, so maybe they'll get rid of Fox and go back to the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, there you are. That's absolutely superb there from the big man. You're happy with that one, aren't you? It was decent. It's Albion Rovers 0, Annan Athletic 2. So Tommy Muir, I think, has secured all 3 points for Annan in that match, as well as Ross County being ahead. Kilmarnock still ahead against Motherwell. Miofsky's goal for Aberdeen has them ahead against Livingston, and St Johnstone 1, St Mirren 1 is how it looks. I don't know about you, Tama. I didn't look at it at the time. What was your predictions overall? Do you remember?
I'll tell you what, Peter, I've had another good weekend, I think.
You think so?
Yes, I think I've got Kilmarnock to win 2-1.
Yep.
I had Aberdeen to draw, which is not going to come up. We never know.
Yeah.
I had one each with St Mirren.
Yeah, I had Ross County
And I had
to win.
Ross County to win.
Yeah,
so
and
give about a 10-pointer for me.
Oh, Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 1.
Oh no!
Equaliser. Callum Slattery from a free kick. Belter 1-1. I just need Motherwell to score another now.
Kilmarnock to score.
Yeah, that is an absolute
That's
belter.
a killer. That's 2 points.
And Aberdeen, I had them to draw, and so did you, Tom.
So did I.
You had them to have a
Did
go
Ruffy go for Aberdeen?
Yeah, Ruffy had Aberdeen 2-1, so he's going to get points as well. You're desperately trying to overtake us, but I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. And we didn't put in, Andrew Taggart says, Peter, I love the show every day, and I think you guys are doing a brilliant job for people who patch other channels. He has mentioned the channel, but well, the other thing, Andrew, the reason why I'm going to mention it to you is I don't mention other broadcasters because I think I admire a lot of the broadcasters in different areas, who work hard. But the difference from our point of view, Tam, is football is, my view, is an entertainment. You've got to have a laugh, a bit of banter.
Much more relaxed on this show.
Yeah, and not take it too seriously, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that's the key to it all. Many years ago, my mates used to say to me, when you're in journalism and there's always that tendency to look at things in a serious manner. And he said, how can you always have a laugh in Super Scoreboard? I said, well, because we'd done the hard yards midweek, we'd worked hard, and then on the Saturday you got that chance with the likes of a Davy Provan and an Andy Walker and a Hugh Keevins and Derek Johnson. You had that chance to have a bit of fun as well as offering opinion.
Yeah, listen, I think people tune in. You want to be informed. I think we inform everybody here with Scottish football. Top to bottom, particularly on the Saturday show. But you want to have a laugh as well. And the other shows, you just can't. You need to watch what you're saying. You need to watch your P's and Q's, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think on here, as long as you're not going overboard, you can kind of say what you feel.
And Dougie says Adam was looking at Neil Murray's hair in awe because I don't know if you're aware of this, by the way, and he's coming in next week.
Looks like Danny Lennon.
Calm yourself. He's coming in next week. Which I'm looking forward to. But we sent Adam out to chat with Macca and Neil Murray, which was great because as soon as this is when it's positive in social media. As soon as the video went out, and it's still out now as the preview, it was released yesterday. Lots of people are watching it today as well. Thank you for everybody supporting us and watching Adam's interview out at Hampden. But quite simply, they know Macca and his fun, which is great. I love Macca. Neil was fantastic, but the first comment that came in was not what they were saying. It was, wow, look at Michael Bolton. So Neil's been getting pelters for his hairstyle because I remember Neil as this midfielder for Rangers with short hair.
I know Neil well. I used to get in Glasgow with Neil.
Yeah.
And, I think I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was an agent, a football agent. Because I remember him phoning me and trying to get me a club, which proved to be impossible. But he was into football agency. He was trying to get me to Cyprus and Greece and all that, and it never happened. But I don't know if he's still doing it or what he's doing now. He was doing a bit of scouting off for Rangers, so that's a good lad.
Yeah, I like him. So he's coming in next week, so we'll get a chance to have a wee bit of banter with him as well. And I can tell you, it is Dundee 1, Inverness 1 full time in the championship. That's a couple of points drop. Really,
Dundee. It's not good that for Dundee. No, especially with Queen's Park winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with me having a Dundee Dunfermline double to win the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing about it from your point of view, Tom, is usually these results are never really about the team. It's all about how it's affected you and your bet. So with that in mind, the way it's looking at the moment, Queen's Park's been a good day for them.
Yeah, it has been. I think they go 4 points clear now at the top of the league. I think Dundee's got a game in hand, but wouldn't it be unbelievable if Queen's Park won that league after coming up for the League One?
Yeah.
To come straight back up. Owen Coyle, there's a guy who doesn't really get linked to a lot of jobs. Owen Coyle.
Yeah.
You know, why is he not getting linked to bigger jobs? You know, he's
Yeah.
done an unbelievable job at Queen's Park.
Well, it's because he's had 9 previous bigger jobs
Yeah,
before
I
that.
suppose
by the
he's
way.
probably he's quite happy where he is at Queen's Park.
Yeah.
He's made his money kind of thing, but
St Johnstone won, St Mirren won, finished full time.
a
Leeds have
5-pointer.
beaten Southampton. No sooner do they appoint a full time manager than they lose. They beat Chelsea the weekend before and lose to Leeds.
what is it with the interim managers?
That's incredible.
And then you appoint them, they're guff.
I can tell you, full time at Ross County, 4-0. Ross County 4, Dundee United 0. It's the big story of the weekend, and I think a lot of people will be looking at that and saying, you know, Dundee United fans, is it time for him to go? It's as simple as that. Is Liam Fox up to the job? Is it too big for him? Is he too inexperienced? Can he get anything out of these Dundee United players who have let him down badly? And I cannot tolerate any player coming out after a manager gets the sack, Tam, and say, oh, you know, we should have worked harder. Really? What?
Yeah, it's the old cliche, isn't it? When the players are interviewed, you know, we feel sorry for the gaffer and we've got to look ourselves in the mirror, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they don't appear to be playing for him. I mean, that's a terrible result. They lost 3 in a bounce. You know, 2 home games back to back, and then going up there in a big game at the bottom of the league. You've got to be up for that game. You know, it's a relegation 6-pointer, and they get hammered. So I think he's going to struggle to survive a 4-0.
Big win for Aberdeen, 1-0 over Livingston, and Barry Robson will be absolutely buzzing at that one.
Yeah, listen, he, apart from last week's difficult game away to Celtic, listen, I don't think anybody's going to judge him on that, but you know, previous results, you know, he's getting wins and he's putting himself in the picture to get that job. As we said, whether Aberdeen trust him to take it to the end of the season, and then I think there's going to be more managers available at the end of the season than there is now. That remains to be seen, but he's certainly doing his chances no harm with that result today.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be giving you the full-time scores shortly. Big win for Aston Villa against Everton. Everton 0, Aston Villa 2. So still, Sean Dyche knows that he has got to try and get them out of that relegation area, but it's not going to be easy. Villa have done well under Unai Emery.
Good manager, and he won the Europa League about 6 times with Seville or something.
I think he'll get to keep it in his house if he wins it any more times.
Aye, good manager, and I think you'll see a stronger Aston Villa next season. But for Everton, it's all about staying in the division. That's a poor result at home.
Yeah, full-time reports coming in shortly. I must mention to you as well that Kerry Pollock caught up with, obviously Hibs and Hearts not involved in any game this weekend due to the Viaplay League Cup final, but our reporter Kerry Pollock caught up with Lawrence Shanklin earlier in the week at Tynecastle. Fabulous interview with him. Really good insight into the striker who's the captain of Hearts. And at the end of it all, Kerry, in her infinite wisdom, decided to offer him 3 wishes.
I'm going to give you 3 wishes. They all have to be football related.
Yeah.
They're going to come true. What would they be?
Beat Celtic in the league and the cup, then go win the Scottish Cup.
That was easy enough.
I will take that.
That was brilliant. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Perfect.
Yeah, 3 wishes. Beat Celtic, League Cup, and then win the Cup.
Yeah, it's good. A good team player there. I'd have went scores 50 goals for now the rest of my career.
Yeah,
Times 3.
yeah. Okay.
I'm selfish. He's went for team glory.
And that,
What was your 3 foot? I would like sign for Barcelona next year.
yeah. Would that be your ultimate, by the way, if you were in the dream?
Win the World Cup with Scotland. Wouldn't it be? Need to respect your Hearts. Wouldn't it be? League Cup. It was 3 crap wishes, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was
Yeah,
crap
absolutely.
wishes.
Well, to be fair, he was looking short term,
Right, okay.
but it's a good interview. And of course, the other thing about it is Kerry was able to get into all sorts of things about his contract and the performance, the players that he's come up against as well. So, a really good interview. And again, as we said to you, PLZ Soccer in Scottish football, covering the games, the reports coming in, players, managers. You'll get all the interviews, you get special features as well. Tuesday, we're going out to a live little show in Motherwell, which we will record and put out later on for you to enjoy. Tam Cowan will be out there with myself and Ruffy, Hugh McDonald, just the people who are committed to PLZ Soccer, none of the shysters who can't make it because of a stupid birthday. What age is your birthday?
42.
42. Who celebrates a 42nd birthday
My
on
man
a
Dar
Tuesday
my man
night?
Dar coming through to take me out and
Yeah,
ride.
well, your dad's not because he's on the panel. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, it is absolutely incredible what's happened in Scottish football this afternoon, because managers losing their jobs. We don't like to see it, but there's been a lot of them under pressure this year.
Yeah, and as I said, I don't think a 4-0 defeat away at Ross County and a big relegation 6-pointer is going to be good enough for Dundee United's fans. They're already raging at the owner and Tony Ashgar and the manager and the players, and I can see them waiting outside up at Dingwall for them to come outside, and I think you'll see some scenes maybe on social media where the fans are absolutely slaughtering the manager, the players and the owner, and they want a change. I think the Dundee United fans are sick now and they want a change.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a difficult 24 hours. Will he survive this 4-0 defeat or not? You can give us your thoughts on that. I can tell you that we will be focusing on the League Cup final shortly. We'll hear from Michael Beale. We'll hear from the Celtic manager Ange Postecoglou. We'll give you what we think will be the predicted lineups on the game. You can tell us who you think is going to win the match. It's amazing when we do eventually get into the meat and bones of it, how the teams have changed since that 2019 League Cup final, because Rangers have, bar one, I think had more or less the same squad. Celtic have changed dramatically under Ange Postecoglou, the players that he's brought in.
Yeah, I think we'll see that shortly when you put the graphic up, but Rangers, it's basically the same squad, still the same players, and that's not great in your recruitment. You want to sign players over the next course of the next couple of seasons that's going to improve your team. And the players that are in there are going to probably get moved on. You're going to bring better in. I don't think Rangers have done that. I think Celtic have. I think Celtic under Ange Postecoglou, the change has been dramatic, but Celtic are now a better team. They're a better squad of players, a better team.
Yeah.
And I think your recruitment over the course of a season or two, by the end of that, you've got to look at your team and your squad and go, we were better than we were 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't think that's really the case at Rangers.
Yeah, Paddy says, would Tam ever consider being a coach or a manager? Did that ever float your boat?
Yes, I've done the B licence and the A licence.
You've done your A?
Yeah.
What's that cost you?
That was about $3,000.
Was it?
Maybe 4.
That was a few years ago then.
A couple of
it's
seasons
expensive
ago.
now.
Aye, it is, and as I said, I've got the licences, but I'm busy with the media stuff now, and when I look at young managers getting into jobs and lasting 6 months, would I want to give all that up? But I've got the now, and I've worked hard for to go and be a coach or a manager. I don't know. I probably not. Will I ever try it? I don't know. But I think I'll be number 2. I don't think I've got the.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got the oomph to be number 1.
Well, the other thing about some people who become managers, their hair changes colour dramatically, whereas you obviously opt for the let's change it dramatically in a hairdresser's.
Yeah, it would I. My hair, I'd be like Philip Schofield. I'd be grey. Be football. But no, to answer the question, I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Unless the media thing falls apart, then I maybe go and get another job somewhere.
Yeah, well, you're pretty close to that. You might have to look for one. Joni says, beg your pardon, Rangers' only chance to win this is to get physical, quickly close Celtic down, but he still thinks 4-2 to Celtic. Give us your thoughts on it, because there's lots of opinions on how they think the League Cup final is going to go. Coming up very shortly, we'll have our reporters giving us their assessment of the Scottish Premiership, but no doubt about it, we'll be looking closely at what's happening at Dundee United. Will there be a statement? Usually, sometimes you get a situation where the owner will just try and have a little bit of calm, have a chat with the manager, and
so
then
it won't be like Dave Cormack at Easter Road.
Well,
it just goes down and goes, "You're out."
Yeah, I don't know if that would be the case there. I'm not sure that they would do that.
I don't know Liam Fox's contract situation. I'm sure he signed a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Somebody might be, I've not got it in hand now, but somebody could maybe look at that and see how long he's got in his contract, Liam Fox. I'm sure he signed a longer-term deal.
Yeah.
And if he did, they've got to pay that up, Peter, and they're maybe still paying Jack Ross off.
Yeah.
Or paid him off. So
crazy.
They're hemorrhaging money up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Dundee United fans, you can give us your thoughts on that. Every Saturday, 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock, it's the football show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and on our Facebook Live as well. We like to, and if you download the PLZ Soccer app, amazingly, it is all, not amazingly, through actually a lot of hard work, it's got all the breaking football news for you, and you can actually watch the show live on a Saturday as well. So it's well worthy of getting on.
See the app? Can you post comments on the app as well?
Yes. Yeah, fantastic. You can
that's even better.
Well, not only
you literally sit in your phone and abuse us rather than be on a laptop.
Yeah, but another good thing about it, Tam, is in the submissions section you can actually record
Have you given anybody ever done that? Sent videos in?
Yeah, you
I've
can
never seen them. I've never seen them in a show.
It's something that I think a lot of people are quite
Have you
scared to
vetted
do.
them?
Yeah, well, you do vet them because it drops into the box, and some people can record, their messages. So if you want to record a message saying what you think about the game, if we use it, we send you out
Good
something.
to get them on the
nice.
show, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. We like to play those videos. Full-time reports coming in shortly on all the big games as well. And Joseph, thank you. He says it's a great app. There's lots of people who are enjoying it, and lots of people who like having all the breaking news at their fingertips, not just in Scotland but down south, across in Europe, and we've got world football breaking stories as well as being able to watch the programme on a regular basis on the app. So with that in mind, we've promoted the app. The website is full of great articles, and on YouTube, well, you get lots of great content that you can enjoy. Miovski scores the goal for Aberdeen, the winner. Big win over Livingston for them. Couldn't separate the two Saints. It was a 1-1 draw, albeit that St Johnstone had taken the lead, and that was with 10 men, and eventually St Mirren got the equaliser in that game. As far as Kilmarnock against Motherwell, it was always going to be one of those situations where Stuart Kettlewell was hoping to suddenly get Motherwell on a run, but it just wasn't to be.
Yeah, but it's a great goal, a big goal for them at the end there, Peter, to get a point out of that game. I was listening to the radio on the way in. I think they were second best in the first half. Don't know how the second half went, but to get that last minute equaliser, I think is very important for Motherwell. It stops Kilmarnock, it's closing the gap on them. Kilmarnock's home form this season has been very, very good. And if Kilmarnock start to drop points at home, they're another team that could be in trouble, because away from home they've been dire. All in all, I think Motherwell fans leaving, and I think Motherwell would have took a big support down the other day. Yeah. Because it's only down the road. I think the Motherwell fans will be pretty happy with the point that keeps Kettlewell's unbeaten run going. Yeah, let's go to Pittodrie and find out what the story of that 90 minutes was with Adam Binney.
Full time here at Pittodrie Stadium. It has finished Aberdeen 1, Livingston 0, if you can't tell, because Aberdeen fans are going wild right in front of me. It's a first half goal, a late goal in the first half from Bojan Miovski that has lifted Aberdeen into the top 6 for the first time since Jim Goodwin left the club last month. He took his goal well, but David Martindale, the Livingston manager, will be frustrated at the nature in which his side gave the goal away. It was a second phase from a set piece. Corner was sent into the box, partially cleared by his side. Duncan sent it back in. It was headed on by Matej Pollock that found the right boot of Bojan Miovski at the back post to thunder it home on the volley. In the second half, Livingston tried to come back into it in the first 5 or 10 minutes or so. Nicky Devlin fizzed a ball across the box. It found Joe Nobley, looked like he could tap it in at the back post, took an extra touch, chopped inside, looked as though his effort was going goalward, but it was headed off the line by Angus MacDonald. Thereafter, Aberdeen controlled the match, they were well in control and thoroughly deserved the 3 points that they got today. So all over here at Pittodrie at full time, it's Aberdeen 1, Livingston 0. But before I go, Peter, I want to bring a little quiz question to yourself. I know you and Tam love your football trivia. So late in the second half, Andrew Shinnie came onto the field for Livingston to play against his brother, Aberdeen captain Graham Shinnie. It's the third set of brothers that have played in the Scottish Premiership against each other this season. Can you name me the other 2, and I'll bring you the answer when I'm live later in the show after speaking to Barry Robson and David Martindale.
The last thing I expected was a question from him. So there's 2 sets of brothers this
played against each other.
Played against each other in the
Scottish Premier League.
Yeah, is the McGinn brothers? Have they played against each other? Paul and Stephen. Did they chucked it? No.
Stephen's at Falkirk.
Yep.
Maybe played against them in the cup.
Yeah.
Motherwell Falkirk. Let's think.
Okay, that's not a bad shout, is it? A good question from him, isn't it?
Oh, the viewers will like that one.
I'm going to have a serious word with him about asking us questions. Brothers that have played against each other. I always remember the McAdam brothers, Tom and Colin.
I played with the 2 Caldwells.
The Caldwells, yep. Stephen and Gary.
The Heed and Big Beethoven. Big Stephen Caldwell. His nickname is Beethoven.
Is that right?
Looks like a big Doug.
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get my thinking. Well, I'll tell you one thing.
The brothers that played against each other.
Yeah, this season though in the Scottish Premiership, I'll tell you who it's not. It's definitely not anybody at Celtic and Rangers. So that you can rule them out. It's not Hibs and Hearts. Forrest Allen and James. There you are. James. That's a good one, right?
James.
There you are. I think I've nailed it.
Who's the other one?
Well, the McGinns, I think they might have played against each other, but Falkirk.
Maybe a cup tie.
No, but he's talking about the Scottish Premiership, so it's not the McGinns. But at least I've got one of them anyway. Thanks very much to so many people. Chris Corey says, I'm in Australia, love the show. Can we change St Johnstone? Can we charge St Johnstone with bringing the game into absolute boredom and being extremely negative? I'm not sure about that, Chris.
I'm fan.
But I was going to say, when you're down to 10 men, Chris, give them a break. They actually went a goal up in that. So Errol says Forrest and the McGinns as well. So I don't know. It'll be interesting when he comes on live. We're going to give him pelters.
There's a Smiths at Hearts and
You're
Dundee
just
United.
making up names.
The Smiths.
Well, let's go and see what Claire's got to say up there at Perth.
St Johnstone 1, St Mirren 1 is how it's finished here at McDermott Park this afternoon. A 10-man St Johnstone took on St Mirren in the second half after Daniel Phillips sending off just before half-time. The first goal came 75 minutes in. Cammy McPherson stepped up to take a free kick. He sent it into the box. Zach Rudden was then able to just nod it past Trevor Carson. Just over 10 minutes later, the visitors managed to equalise. Shaughnessy sent across into the box, and Gojic managed to get it at his feet, who then put it past Remy Matthews. Remy Matthews really put to work actually in this second half. A lot of scuffle around the box, but no more goals to be had. So that's how it's finished here at McDermott Park. St Johnstone 1, St Mirren 1.
Well done, Claire. She's just got, she must have a full drawer full of hats to keep herself warm in every cold place we send her to.
There's some cold places in Scottish football, and Perth's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to Claire. And it's an indication of the reporters that we are bringing on board to try and bring you the most extensive coverage, Tam, right across the Scottish Premiership. And of course, over and above that, we've done Champions League this season. Obviously, I've added a little extra Champions League in Liverpool, Real Madrid, to watch Real.
Snidey, that bit sly, that. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you got absolutely hammered.
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely gutted, but not gutted to say I was there, because Real Madrid were an absolute joy to watch. Andrew Taggart says, Peter, the Australian guy, is grumpy because it's only 3 a.m. over there. I mean, obviously a lot of people you don't realise expats get up and stay.
Particularly Australia.
Yeah, thank you to so many of you trying to get the question from Adam. It's well worth it. But we're going to concentrate as well, not only on, we're waiting on Patrick coming shortly to give us his quick assessment of what happened down there at Rugby Park between Kilmarnock and Motherwell. But the League Cup finals, there's 2 of them to look forward to tomorrow, as well as people obviously wanting to look in on the rugby as well. Let's not forget Scotland going really well in the rugby. I just thought I'd throw that in there. I know you don't like rugby, but I thought I'd be patriotic, Tam. But tomorrow, 2 League Cup finals to look forward to. Celtic against Rangers, and then it's Manchester United against Newcastle. 2 belters, and the way the kickoffs are, 3 o'clock. It's the Viaplay League Cup final.
You're hoping it doesn't go extra time.
I'm hoping it doesn't, because 4:30, you could time your whole afternoon, Tam.
You could. I'm away up to Carnoustie tomorrow with the wife.
Yeah.
So we're going to be watching some pub in Carnoustie. Watch it, hopefully, not a Rangers pub.
Yeah.
Celtic pub.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I'll get battered. So we'll see what pubs are on the way up there.
Brilliant. I, on the other hand, will not be going to any pub to watch the game. But I thought it was only fair that we sent Kerry out to the cup final. She's been itching to do the big final, and we finally said, right, Kerry, you're in, get on with it.
I think she was doing the women's game last night and taking a Saturday off, so I just thought she's getting a bit big time now, because she's got a few interviews with Shankland and guys like that.
Yeah.
Thought she'd just take a Saturday off because she's big time now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's in her contract. She gets a Saturday off if she gets a big interview. Long may it continue. What about Rugby Park, Patrick Mullen?
Full time here at Rugby Park, and it has finished. Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 1. It's a 90th minute equaliser by substitute Callum Slattery that sees Motherwell save a point on the road. Kilmarnock got the opener in just the 16th minute. It came from a corner. The ball came into the box. The header was initially saved well by Liam Kelly, but he spilt it into the danger area. But up stepped Scott Robinson, who managed to slash the ball home to give Kilmarnock the lead. Kilmarnock thought that they had saved all 3 points thanks to an excellent second half display by Sam Walker, keeping out chance after chance. But just moments before the end, upstep Callum Slattery about 30 yards out from a free kick, and he has guided the ball into the top right-hand corner to break Kilmarnock hearts. It's an unbeaten run that continues for Stuart Kettlewell. I'll speak to him and Derek McInnes right now. But full time here at Rugby Park, it has finished. Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 1.
Al Foster sign in the background there, boy, for Australia, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's hard to believe that Patrick comes from Castle Milk, but there you go. Absolutely fantastic to hear to hear him. I love the guy. Patrick's always out there getting the stories, and he'll get the reaction of the managers as well. Thanks to so many people watching the show from all near and far. We've got a guy who's on a bus somewhere. He says, "I love the show." Well, his tagline is a bus. He says, "I love the show. I'm from Palm Springs in California." His name's Stephen McCrory. So, Stephen, absolutely fantastic. We love the fact that you're watching the programme in Palm Springs, which we haven't actually had anybody from that area. And what we like to do, Stephen, I'm not sure you're aware of it, is we like to go and visit for a sustained period of time some of our viewers, only a select few, and you've been selected as one of them, which is really good news.
Yes, we'll go there.
Oh, California.
Oh, we need a bed.
Oh, that would be fantastic, absolutely. Preferably a house with a roof over that bed as well, Stephen, if you can organise that.
Sunbed outside.
Yeah, would you? It's fantastic. Yeah, lots of people. New Zealand, Australia, of course, with Vietnam, we've had Palm Springs there in America. Lots of people follow us on the show, and we're really delighted that you do that. Share it, tell people that you can actually hear us. And also Jim says to us, "I hope you're keeping that lad out of the sun, Peter. It could be cruel for him." Patrick is absolutely top drawer. He's a really good lad, and he's another one that takes belters in the office. It's a great thing about it is, the great thing about everyone who works for his Tam is
You've got to be able to take it.
you have to have a thick skin.
You have
There's
to.
none of this. There's
Nobody took it more than me, Gabs.
Oh, Gabs was fantastic, which is why we had to let him go, because I think we were scarring the boy. And he said to me, "Look, I want to work somewhere quieter," and he got his wish. So here we are, PLZ Soccer. Great, the people who are subscribing, the big views for all our content across all our social media channels. We really, really appreciate it as well. And hopefully, when your man comes back onto us here, Errol says, "Peter, did the McStay brothers play each other?" I think Raymond played against Willie and Paul, but this is Premiership this season, which is why it's such a good question. I can't wait for the answer. Ronnie Chapman says, "Forget Palm Springs, Peter, come over to Airdrie and get a good drink." Well, what Ronnie doesn't know is I used to spend a lot of time in Airdrie at the AA and JT's.
What that is?
Good pubs. Mental, absolutely. The only problem with those pubs is at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's a metre and a half and a taxi back. So,
Is it? I could live far from here, Airdrie.
metre and a half, not having it. It's as simple as
tighter than a dead teat.
Absolutely.
He's talking about Airdrie there. You know, I had a loan spell at Airdrie with Steve Archibald.
Yeah.
And this was so remember the winter, have a winter break in the SPL.
Yeah.
So Alec McLeish, me and Ian Murray were on the fringes, and they went to Portugal for a week, and they said, "Listen, I think it's better for you too if you stay and get a few games." I thought I was going to Portugal. Yeah. So I went to Airdrie on loan, and Ian Murray went to Alloa on loan, and Steve Archibald was the manager of Airdrie, and I only played one game. It was against Livingston at home, and I played with David Fernandez. It was at Celtic. Juan Calderon, we went to Wraith Rovers. Brotto was the goalkeeper. Good team. So it came at the end of the month, and Airdrie were obviously paying my wages. I wasn't on a lot of money. I was only a young boy. And Steve Archibald at the last day every month come round with the biggest chequebook you've ever seen in your life, like this. So he'd come round and go, "Much do you? Much do you?" And he'd write the cheque and give them it. Wow. So at this point, Airdrie were in financial troubles. So the boys had told me, tipped me off, he says, "Listen, you get that cheque, get straight to the bank and cash it. Because if you're the last 5 or 6 that cash it, it bounces." You're good. So Steve Archibald, I think it was about 1,200 quid or something, and I went bang, straight to the bank, cashed it. And that's why Airdrie went bust. Yeah. Shortly after that. Because you were there. Because Steve Archibald's cheque started to bounce.
Well, not him personally, I have to tell you. But the good thing about Steve is when Ruffy and I went over to Barcelona, he's a god over there, and he was brilliant to us, and we took him out for a meal. So it was absolutely...
He was a good coach as well. He used to take me and David Fernandez a couple of afternoons. He says, "Right, you used to come out with me, and we'd done finishing." into Big Brotto, who eventually went to Celtic. But I really like Steve Archibald. I thought he was quality guy.
Great player. Viaplay League Cup final, who's going to win it? Is it going to be Celtic or will it be Rangers? Give us your reasons behind your decision to opt for one or the other. Okay, how crucial is it going to be that they've got a good pitch because it's been relayed, it looks in good condition, unless it cuts up badly. I think it'll be...
The weather's been good, Peter.
I was going to say to you, I think it's going to be far better than what we witnessed in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think they had to do that. They got heavily criticised the surface for both those games. I think it's difficult when you play back to back, Peter. A pitch has got to, it needs time to reset and to roll it and all that stuff. So to play back to back games was tough, but they've obviously resurfaced it, and it should all be good. The weather's been dry for Scottish standards in February over the last couple of days, so I think the pitch will be perfect. There's no excuses in that score.
Fingers crossed that we get some good football played on that pitch as well. No controversial decisions because quite simply I'm looking at it, referee is going to be Nick Walsh, his assistants Frank Connor, David Room, and the fourth official is Kevin Clancy. And with the 21st century, you know how it goes. Here's the VAR. The VAR official is John Beaton and his assistant is Graham Stewart. So there you have it. You have all the officials there. I hope they are not...
Just imagine the feed right now.
I just hope VAR. I hope they're not at the centre of attention. Do you?
I hope no. Listen, I hope it's a great game. A great game of football. Plenty of goals, plenty of 12 points, but no for the referees. I hope the referees can walk out to go to their car after the game with no hassle whatsoever and go back to their houses and go about their business. But as I said, there's no excuse. There's VAR there. You've got fourth and fifth. You've got all the referees there. You've got the technology there to get the big decisions right. Let's hope they do.
I like Iron Blue's take on this. He says, let's just hope the penalty spot is in good condition. Because
I've seen Neil Lennon a bit of mischief the other day.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I was going to have a bet in the game, it would be red card Celtic and penalty Rangers. But then somebody put something on about the stats with Celtic Rangers penalties in Celtic Rangers games.
Yeah.
I think Celtic have only had 4 given against them or something. Something like somebody might be able to tell us. Celtic have had loads of penalties against Rangers over the last few seasons.
Well, as you mentioned as well,
some Rangers fan listed them all.
The other thing about it, though, Tam, that you mentioned the other day, there's only been yellow cards, 2 yellow cards in the last one. So there's not been red cards. How crucial do you think discipline is? Because Ange Postecoglou has mentioned that the players need to show discipline. He doesn't really look at it as if it's a worrying issue for his side, but it is a final, and the last thing he would want is for his team to be hampered in any way. Yeah,
I think the most important thing for both teams is to keep 11 men in the park. You can't go flying into tackles because you're not going to get away with it. You can't get off the ball incidents. You can't throw an elbow at somebody or slap somebody or whatever, thinking the referee's not going to see you because you'll get done. So listen, I hope both teams keep 11 men in the park, and as I said, I hope it's a very entertaining game, because it's not only us that's watching it, it's getting beamed all over the world. Scottish football, let's hope that everyone behaves themselves and it's a good game of football, and we're talking about the football after the game rather than maybe scenes off the pitch or VAR decisions.
Yeah, we want it to be a good spectacle indeed to sell our game, and if we want to really do what Alan Burrows was talking about earlier in that little clip, which is basically promote the game and get more and more people investing in it, promoting it, sponsoring it, then we can get, again, and I hope it's Scottish players, but a higher level calibre of player to enhance our league as well, so that the fans can see some really good football. That's what we want to see. I hope you share that view. Ange Postecoglou's record, he's only lost 2 of the 7 derbies he's been involved in. Certainly he'll be looking at this one as his captain Callum McGregor mentioned, and just concentrate on doing the job on the pitch. Michael Beale has been very respectful as well of his respect for Ange Postecoglou. I think everybody in the build-up has been saying the right things. Maybe not Fashion Sakala, who says that Gers are a better side, and he's well aware of that mob. Which
interesting phrase of turn the phrase. Maybe really, that's a phrase, mob.
Yeah, but it really is a strange thing to. Every time I've seen him in an interview, he's always been a happy-go-lucky guy. So I wouldn't look too deeply into it.
McGregor's been into him before the game, isn't he?
Of course, it's just a little bit of. I mean, anybody who gets upset at these things.
And by the way, as soon as that was said, it was a media light. They must have been thinking, "Oh, there you go."
Yeah, well, as soon as he says mob, you're like, "Oh, there it is."
No. I think he's a key player for Rangers actually, Fashion Sakala. I think that a key battle between him and probably Greg Taylor down that side. I think Hampden's a big pitch. I thought he caused Celtic a lot of problems at Ibrox. I said it in the show yesterday, he's very unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do, but he's got serious pace and he's direct. And I think that's always a problem. It's always dangerous when you've got a player like that in the team. Celtic, we want to try and keep him and Kent, quiet on the wings. But no, as I said, I think it's you're just hoping for a good spectacle, and I think there's going to be goals in this, Peter. I said yesterday, there's no way this is going to be 0-0, no chance. I think there's going to be goals in this game, and I think the first goal could be crucial.
Yeah, lots of people reckon there'll be a penalty in it. It's a certainty, Peter says, Andrew Taggart. And of course, lots of people looking at how they think the game's going to go. Jonathan says Rangers to win it 2-1. And I think Joseph says, I predict a classic tomorrow. I hope we're talking about good goals and good play on the pitch. I agree with you on that, Joseph. I just hope that we see some really good football and great goals. Chris says, to be honest, let's hope the fans from both sides get home to bed alive and not injured. That's a win from an old firm. Yeah.
Not any trouble.
I don't know about you, Tam. I mean, I love them. I like them as a spectacle in the press box. Certainly, probably the only Old Firm game I haven't enjoyed was the one where I thought it became really scary. Was the Hugh Dallas hit with a coin. And Celtic lost their discipline.
Was that when Rangers were in a huddle then? Was that that same game?
That was the huddle. Dick Advocat, and of course the boy who jumped off the top tier, and we thought he was a goner and he was going for a pie. And that game actually was very, very scary. Even in the press box, a lot of us looking around and really worried that it had gone way too far.
Yeah, because it was poisonous back then. That was Rangers trying to stop. Rangers going for 10 in a row, and Celtic trying to stop it. And different things that was around about that period. And I think it would have went like that as well, Peter, if it wasn't for COVID. When Celtic going for 10 in a row.
Yeah.
I think that would have been with the fans in there and so much at stake. Rangers try to stop 10, Celtic try to get 10. It's really fervent, and that's when it can get scary and serious. So I think the COVID kind of took that, obviously, that element of that away. But yeah, you're right. I think over the piece, the only other big incident I can ever think of was McCoist and Lennon. When McCoist obviously said something to Lenny and he took great offence to it. But apart from that, I can't remember been too many big flash points in the Old Firm.
Yeah. I like Iron Blue's line here. He says, Alison will be up all night painting the Green Brigade banner. I just thought I don't usually read it.
That's how they all wear masks. Alison's got a cracking mask that she wears when she goes to
it is funny. I mean, honestly, there is a woman who's actually, for me, a great signing.
Ali's brilliant, and she can take it as well.
Absolutely.
She's
great signing for our team. Really good journalist, knows her stuff, and likes a good...
She was at the Celtic Rangers game last night as well, women's game.
Yeah, likes a good noise up, Alison, so that's absolutely fantastic. You can give us your thoughts. What's your favourite game that you've been at involving Celtic and Rangers? Is there a match that sticks in your head that you thought, it had everything? Is there a goal that you never tire of watching from a game, a Rangers goal, a Celtic goal? Let us know. We'd love to. Actually, 1980 was my worst derby, pure mayhem everywhere, says Errol Campbell. Absolutely. That's the one that really has stopped everybody getting a drink at
that was when the alcohol was
Scottish Cup final.
The game. They served at the bars at the games.
Well, I think the biggest problem was that...
And straight after that was it, scrapped.
Yep.
After that game.
Yep, and now I was at the Liverpool Real Madrid game, Tam, and I can tell you, as you well know, if you went in on a normal ticket, you can go to the bar and order a beer.
No, it's no bother.
Not here.
Nah.
It's...
Can't be trusted, unfortunately.
Well, that's...
Some Egypts.
That is a sad indictment. Jonathan has says David Cooper's... And he's just said David Cooper's, and I know what he's talking about.
When he flicked over
1979 Dryborough Cup final. David Cooper's goal is absolutely sensational.
I think it's his birthday today. Actually, we're doing his birthday today, David Cooper.
Is it today?
I read something.
Yeah, I thought it was Walter Smith's yesterday. Maybe.
I think it was David. It would have been. I don't know what age it would have been the day, but it's sad.
I'll check that up. So his goal was unbelievable. Billy says Larsson's chip in the 6-2 game. Another incredible goal. There's lots of great goals like that. Of course, we want to see a bit of skill. We want to see somebody. Interestingly enough, Ange Postecoglou says that his team have been practising penalties.
Yeah, I think you've got to practice.
Think it'll go the distance?
I hope no, because I like watching the Man United Newcastle game. But no, I hope it's settled in 90 minutes. I think the pressure on the players in an Old Firm Cup final at penalty shootouts would be incredible. But I think they've got to practice them. But I don't think there's any substitute for being in that moment. I don't think you can replicate it, Peter. You know, you can practice all day in front of nobody.
Yeah.
When you walk up, and I've done that walk at Hampden towards 25,000 Rangers fans in the semi-final of the League Cup when I was at Hibs. And nothing can, everything you practiced, my mind just went a blank. Everything you practiced and which side you were going, you just...
Gone?
It was gone, and I just hurt it as hard as I could, and luckily it went in, but I don't think you can replicate that, Peter.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, great. I mean, this is what's brilliant about this now. This is the positive aspect of it. Joseph McGonigal says, Joe Miller's cup final goal, my first without my dad, which must have been emotional. And Ian Docherty says, my first game was the 1963 Scottish Cup final replay. Wait for this, Tam. 134,000 there, 3-0 for Rangers. And Gaza's diving header, I think that, Ronnie, was that at Celtic Park, if my memory serves me correct? It was a quick counter attack too. Oh no, there was one at Ibrox where he had blonde hair. I don't know if you remember that one. John Hughes headed it onto the bar. Right. Rangers broke up field and Gaza scored, but Gaza also scored.
Goff scored that day as well.
Yeah, Gaza scored with a left foot little chip. I think it might have been his first Rangers game. Dinked it over Gordon Marshall at Parkhead when they were rebuilding Parkhead. Paddy Devlin says Maloney's screamer, and it was from about 35 yards. He just hit it with his right boot and it was bending.
I thought the goalie was poor at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not telling you who Sean, but I thought Kloss was a goalie, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
I thought it was McGregor.
Was it? Whoever it was.
It was poor. Okay. So with that in mind, thank you to so many of you for talking about that. Listen, managers want to win silverware. Ange Postecoglou, no different. He's loving his time at Celtic.
I enjoy all of it. I mean, I mean, the only bits that kind of, again, people assume you love the best is when you win things. But I've had a decent career and I've had a fair bit of success, but winning things is still rare, you know, even for the most successful of coaches. Only one manager is champion every year, and you've got to hang your hat on something else other than that. So I enjoy all of it. I mean, I think I've made a point, is I enjoy the hard graft of when you're building a team and people can't see what you're building, and you know, they're coming at you from all angles, and you know, you're in the trenches and you can see what you're trying to do. I enjoy that bit, you know, it's not the bit. So
yeah, so he's loving it.
And they certainly were coming at all angles when you first come in.
Yeah.
I think they lost 3 of the first 6 league games, one of the worst starts in Celtic's history. And I remember them losing the game at Hearts away, and a lot of people were thinking, this guy's not cut out for Celtic, he's not going to last. And slowly but surely, as he said, he gets his message across to the players in training. They're training hard, he gets the players in who he wants to get in, he gets the players out who he wants to get out. And the transformation from when he first came into Celtic to now shows you how good a coach he is. I think they look a tremendously coached team. Every player knows what they're doing off the ball and on the ball. And when I watch a team, whether that's, you know, in League 2 or Champions League, when you see players off the ball and on the ball doing things, and I think they're well coached, and I think you can see that with Celtic.
Yeah, thanks to Paddy, who says Nakamura's Swigler, left foot. That one was Conterman's rocket at Hampden semi-final. I remember that one. What's that? Oh, Scott Brown, left foot, yes. With Diouf standing in front of him. Yep, that's another
iconic
one. That was incredible as well. There's lots of people firing in with the goals in special games as well from both sides, which is brilliant. That's what you want. You want people to remember those great games because you might have gone there with your friends, your family, your dad, your mum. You know, and it's a game where when the ball hits the back of the net, you just get that sense you're turning around to your mates and you're enjoying it, and you're cuddling each other. It's a crazy atmosphere. It's certainly not the best derby technically, although there have been some really brilliant players played in it, but it's certainly one of the most famous derbies worldwide because of some negativity that you obviously associate with this game, the sectarianism and some of the trouble. I think some people look at it for that factor of just looking in at a game to see if something's going to happen. But we like to talk about it from the point of view of somebody producing a little bit of magic, great game, great spectacle, and an atmosphere that at times is just, well, it just cackles along The cacophony of noise that you get in this fixture is unbelievable. And of course, I don't really like the hatred that's involved with it. What about the Celtic side, Tam? Do you think it's going to be too far away from what we've predicted here as far as the team is concerned? Hart, Johnson, Carter, Vickers, Starfelt, Taylor. The front three we've got is Jota, Kyogo and Maeda. But Moy, Hatate and McGregor, I'm just wondering if Moy, Hatate and McGregor would be the preferred choice.
So I'm looking at that team and I'm thinking, okay, so I think that O'Reilly could possibly start. It's going to be frenetic, we know that in the first hour of the game. Usually it's the first 20 minutes in a normal game, but in an Old Firm game it's the first hour. I think it's going to be frenetic. Would you play O'Reilly and then bring Moy on? When the game calms down, he can influence the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the only other one I thought was Abada for Jota, because Abada's got a great record against Rangers. He's terrorised Barisic. I spoke about this yesterday. You know, Barisic is prone to ball watching. I think when the ball's on the far side, he is transfixed on the ball, and Abada's nicked in front of him a couple of times. I can remember at Parkhead to nick in front of him and score. You know, that would be only two that I could see out that Celtic team that it would maybe change. I think the rest of the team's set in stone, but maybe O'Reilly and then bring Moy on, or Abada and Jota. But he's got plenty of options.
Alan Wood says O'Reilly in for Moy at the start, otherwise that's the starting 11.
Yeah, I think so. I think you could do that and then bring Moy on to pull the strings later on when the game's just calmed down a wee bit.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation when you look at managers. Some things can influence them that we're just not privy to. Last minute injury, change.
The way people are training and all that as well, you know.
And the way he thinks about the team. So you give us who you think is going to start, who's not going to make it onto that field at the start when they take to the field at Hampden. We're going to hear from Michael Beale shortly, but let's quickly switch to some of the games today. Stuart Kettlewell, the manager of Motherwell now, and is he happy to get a point? Let's find out.
What comes next in the remaining 11 games will define whether it is, but I genuinely feel that it could be a big moment in our season. Really easy for us to go under with the first half performance and not acquit ourselves as we did in the second half. So obviously Callum Slattery comes up with an absolute wonder strike, but we probably had 5 really good opportunities before that where we see the whites of their goalkeeper's eyes. He ends up getting man of the match, but it wasn't for his first half performance, it was for his second half performance, and I think that signifies what we done in the second half was a lot better than what we seen in the first 45.
Well, there you are, Phil Martin, because Stuart Kettlewell at times is able to, in the last 3 games, get something out of them. Half-time team talk, change, Slattery produces a wee moment of magic.
Yeah, I think I'll be delighted with the point in the end. As I said, I was listening to the radio coming into the studio, and it was all Kilmarnock. You know, they could have been 2 or 3 nothing up. I think there was some really important blocks from Motherwell players to stop it going to 2 and 3. So I think he'll be delighted to keep that unbeaten run going. You know, he obviously won his first 2 games. Draw today, 7 points out of 9. Great start for him as a manager at Motherwell. And they were 2 big games at the bottom, Peter. I think that's going to be our bottom 4. Those 4 are going to be the bottom 4 in whatever order. And I think it was important today not to get beat and not to lose ground on those teams, and Motherwell managed to do that at the end.
Yeah, let's talk about Michael Beale, the Rangers manager. 13 wins from 14 matches, only draw against Celtic. He has come in after Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, steadied the ship, looked at the squad he's inherited, and he's managed to get something out of them. They have battled for him.
They have, and at the start of that run, they were not playing particularly well. I mean, we all remember the game at Aberdeen. Yeah, you could call it luck, or you could call it a team going to the end. You know, whatever way you want to call it. You know, they went to the very end, and they got the 3 points. So, I think from then on, the performances have improved. I think he's getting players back from injury, which has helped him. I think the squad's stronger. There's now a lot more competition for places, which drives players on that are in the starting lineup. So I think he's done everything that's been asked of him, but it's his biggest test tomorrow. This is his biggest test. These are the games you're judged in as an Old Firm manager or player for that matter. And they've got to lift that trophy tomorrow, because if they don't and Celtic win the trophy and they're one away for the treble, then again that just increases pressure on him for next season.
Yeah, and of course he's not looking any further forward than this game. It's the old cliche for Michael Beale, 1 game at a time.
I think it's not focusing on being too emotional or dramatic about what the bigger picture looks like. Let's just focus on this 90 or 120 minutes or penalties, whatever it takes at the weekend. Take part in a fantastic game, do ourselves justice, and then come Monday, my job doesn't really change. I think I still have a big job, and that's a job that I was running back to this city to take part in. So I've got to be the most excited and optimistic about seeing it through.
Yeah, he's got a level head on his shoulders, Michael Beale. He's well aware that, leaving Queen's Park Rangers, this is a big club. He wants to achieve success with them, but short-termism, he wants to win it, but he knows there's a bigger picture, a longer run ahead of trying to take Rangers where he wants to take them.
There is, but I don't think you can particularly have a longer-term picture as a Celtic Rangers manager. I think you're in the here and now, and I think that it's easy for him to say, listen, 18 months, 2 years' time, we're going to be this, we're going to be that. If you don't want anything between then and now, you might get the bullet. So I think he's got to concentrate on the now, and he's got to try and lift that silverware tomorrow. Listen, Celtic get into the game as favourites with the bookies. A lot of people would fancy Celtic as well, even neutrals. They look a better side, but at the end of the day, Rangers are well capable of winning. They're well capable of playing above themselves tomorrow and getting the result. They showed that in the league game, that they're just as good as Celtic on their day in a one-off game, and this is a one-off game. Doesn't matter about the 9 points in the league. This is a one-off game, and if Rangers go out and play well, they can beat Celtic.
Yeah, well, one of the things I never really pay too much heed to is people talking about players are touch and go, injured, maybe not, definitely not going to make it, and then suddenly there's something miraculous about them taking to the field. There's been a few injury worries for Rangers, but this is what we think might be the starting 11. It could be wide of the mark. There might be one or two out of it. Might be one or two that we disagree with, Tam, but McGregor in goal, Tavernier, Golson, Davis and Barisic. Midfield 3, Lundstrom, Cantwell, Raskin. Front 3, Sakala, Morelos, Kent. Dissect it for us.
Yes, and that's going to be a very similar formation to Celtic. They're going to play with the 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it. I think the only ones there for me is Tillman. I think if Tillman's fit, I think he plays. I think he's been key to Rangers' resurgence in recent weeks. He could come in. I think he would come in for Cantwell, and I think you'd maybe have the two sitting there. Is he going to risk Raskin in his first Old Firm game in a final, or does he go with the experience of Glenn Kamara? Kamara's done well for Michael Beale since he's come in. He was out the picture under Van Bronckhorst. He's come in, he's played in plenty Old Firm games, so maybe his experience might edge it over Raskin. So I think the back five there that you've seen for Rangers is definitely going to be the back five, and the front three is going to be the front three. But I think there's a few different combinations. Ryan Jack, Arfield, there's a few different combinations that you can go with in midfield, but it's going to be fascinating. It's two very similar styles, two very similar setups in terms of tactics. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, and it's just about who's better on the day, Peter.
Yeah, he's got a big call with Tillman, and of course Malik Tillman is one of those players. He's got a trick. I think there's a number of players for Rangers and obviously for Celtic that are match winners. And that can grab the game. I mean, I'm saying Lundstrom because I think they need a bit of dig.
A bit of dig in there,
well, I like a bit of dig because I am one of those guys who loves people in the midfield who get craft. Anybody from a Pirlo to a Modric.
Somebody to win the ball and give them
it. But I think you need somebody in there who's got that about them. Lundstrom for me is that type of man, and especially when you are coming up against a side which I think, if there is an edge, I think Celtic have it. I think they have a stronger bench than Rangers, and that's why I think Lundstrom for me has got to be in there, get a bit of fight in there. Tavernier's a good captain, knows what it's like to inspire the team, but I think in the middle of the park, if you start letting McGregor make 5, 10, 15 yard passes, then starts looking at angles, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's obviously Michael Beale's decision. I think that Lundstrom's obviously another one that's maybe been struggling a wee bit with injury, but I think a lot of Rangers fans would feel more safe with him in the team because you know what you're going to get from him. You know he's going to get in there, he's going to put his foot in. I don't know if Raskin and Kamara are different players, so will he go with him? I don't know if he's going to go with him, but it's going to come down to individual battles, Peter, on the day. It's 11v11, and as both very similar setups. Can you get on top of your man? I always felt as a striker when you're playing against a centre half, can you hold the ball in? Can you win a few fouls? Can you run in behind? Can you get in behind the centre half? And you think, I've got him for pace. If you're a wide man, can you get by the full back early doors and put a cross in? Can you get a shot away at goal? And you think, I'm getting the better of him. And I think it's going to be who's got more players on the day that's getting the better of their counterpart, whether that's wide areas or midfield or defence, whatever, that's going to win the game. If Celtic have got 7 or 8 players at the top of their game, I think they'll win.
I actually think the game is going to be decided by substitutions.
Yep.
I think that's the key to this.
It's another one, Peter, with the 5 subs rule. I don't agree with the 5 subs rule. I don't know about you. I think they should go back to 3, but I think the 5 sub rule benefits the bigger teams and it benefits the deeper squads. And when I'm looking at both those squads, I'm looking at I think Celtic's got a deeper squad in terms of quality, and that, you're right, that could be the difference. But I don't agree with the 5 subs.
Yeah, well, listen, there's lots of things I don't agree with. We're talking.
It's very difficult for say if I'm playing for St Mirren and we're matching Celtic for an hour and it's 1-0 or 0-0.
Yeah.
And you look down and they make 4 subs and the 4 guys that are coming on are just as good or better than the guys coming off.
Yeah.
And you're bringing on maybe guys that know you've maybe only got 12 or 13 in your squad that's decent. I think it makes it very, and that's why the gap's getting bigger as well. I think that's an element of that as well.
Yeah, Alan Robertson says the game can be won for Celtic against Rangers fullbacks. It's still a coin flip though, and I think Alan's right. It depends, and you alluded to it yesterday. Who's getting pushed back? Is it going to be Celtic pushing the Rangers fullbacks, or will they be able to get forward? Can Tavernier get crossed in? Can Barisic put his in, or will it be a case of Abada or Jota pushing down, Maeda causing all sorts of problems? There are so many great permutations here and unanswered questions that we're about to find out in this game. Do you think it's the first team to score will win it?
I think that the statistics would tell you that the team that scores first in an Old Firm game rarely loses.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously obvious, but I think it is. I think the first goal is going to be crucial, and I agree with that. Barisic and Tavernier, their strengths are going forward. Both of them put great delivery into the box.
Yeah.
When they come forward, Kent, comes inside and plays in the hole. I don't think on the other side Sakala will do that. He's more just a bang right down the wing. But Celtic's wingers will try and push the 2 back. And if they push the 2 back, Celtic's full-backs come up. It's a game of chess. It really is. It's a game of chess between 2 very similar systems. And as I said, whoever plays better on the day is going to win the game. And obviously it's a cliche to say that, but it's just because it's a system's not going to win the game, Peter. Yeah. Sometimes you say, my managers, he changed it to 4-4-2 and they got a result. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think they won't deviate away from their system and how they see the game, and it's going to be who performs better on the day.
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and say this game will be determined by a substitution. I just get that feeling about it. The other great thing about this game is it's a proper derby. Why is it a proper derby, Tam? Why am I saying it's a proper derby?
Because there's both sets of fans, full allocation.
Absolutely. We're finally going to get something that we can enjoy with both sets of fans there. The noise will be absolutely incredible as well. The Battle of the Saints today in the Scottish Premiership, it ended honours even, albeit that St Johnstone were down to 10 men. Here's what St Johnstone manager Callum Davison thought of it.
I generally don't know why it was sent off. It's a big point in the game as well. It made it really difficult for us, but moving on from that, I thought we were probably better with 10 men. I thought we worked extremely hard. Again, 2 substitutions came on. Zach came on and did why I brought him here. Did what I asked for him, to score goals.
Well, Daniel Phillips got the red card. They were up against it. St Mirren eventually managed to get the equaliser in the game. Share of the spoils.
Yeah, I think Callum Davison would have taken that at half time, down to 10 men. But obviously you're greedy as a manager. You go 1-0 up. You're thinking, right, can we just hold on here? But it's difficult, to hold on with 10 men. Sometimes that goal can give you extra energy, and unfortunately I think it was only the last 3 or 4 minutes that Gogic got the equaliser, so they'll be disappointed that they never held on for the 3 points. But when you lose a man in the first half, I think you're taking a point all day.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have just joined us, where have you been? What a good bit of banter, Tam.
Yes, we have.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, with lots of people inviting us over to
You've been here as well.
Yeah, we've been over to California as well. Most of your stuff's written down for you. But the banter with the fans, looking forward to the Cup final tomorrow. We'll talk about the English Cup final briefly as well, and give you a chance to enter the competition for the last time before we announce the winner. And if you were wondering what the scores were in the Scottish Premiership, here indeed they are. This is how it all unfolded. Aberdeen 1, Livingston 0, Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 1, Ross County 4, Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 1, St Mirren 1. And the one that's screaming out there quite simply is of course St Johnstone. Not St Johnstone, Ross County, beg your pardon. Ross County winning 4-0 against Dundee United. Liam Fox, I think
the dressing room yet?
Well, I think a lot of, that's the other thing about it. I think a lot of Dundee United fans will have had enough time. No disrespect, I don't want to see managers get the sack, but you can only look at the league table here, Tam, and say to yourself, Dundee United rock bottom now.
It's now 4 points, Peter.
4 points, and Ross County as well with that 4 point advantage over them.
Yeah, I've always said that, see, as long as it's a point or goal difference, I think that, you know, you get the benefit of the doubt when it goes to 4 points, and that can grow to 7 next week. You know, that's when you're in real trouble, and it was always going to be a gamble to bring Liam Fox in. You know, they got rid of Jack Ross early doors, and I think they gave Liam Fox the job. You know, I think it was to save money as well, Peter. I think he was already there, and they gave him the job. I think he's going to struggle to survive this, I really do, because the Dundee United fans will be, you know, they'll be demonstrating outside the Tannadice now. You know, they'll be desperate for a change. They can see under this manager that I think they're relegation favourites, you know, if it goes like this. So how deep are the owners' pockets? Is he going to fire another manager and bring another one in and pay him off and bring somebody else in? As I said, you've got Tam Court sitting there. I think he's ideal to take the reins to the end of the season, if he's prepared to do that, and it gets him back in the shop window as well. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think he's going to struggle to survive that result.
Yeah, I'm just looking, and again, absolutely no word whatsoever that would suggest that he's going to be gone. And if anything, some of the quotes coming from him, he says they're absolutely the fans entitled to their opinion. It's hugely disappointing for us. We're letting people down at the moment. It's unacceptable. But I think that's really a manager at the moment looking startled at the end of that game. That's an immediate quote from him coming out there, and that tells you quite simply that, you know, he knows it's not good enough. Whether he's waiting on the inevitable sack, who knows?
Yeah, and he's never been in this position, Peter. That's the thing. He's an inexperienced young manager, and you know, if it was a Malky Mackay or a Derek McInnes or somebody that's been in the game a long time as a manager, then, you know, you would maybe see, right, you'd give them the benefit of the doubt. They've got out of this situation before, but you just don't know William Fox. You know, maybe if they don't sack him, maybe it does get them out of trouble. But he's got no record of doing it, and I think that's important. He's no record of winning games, and he's only a young manager. So I think it's a big call now for Dundee United to see what they do next.
Okay, let's go to Rugby Park to find out how Derek McInnes feels about that scoreline today. Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 1.
Yeah, I think it's always sore one, that. I think it's, you're only 1-0 up, and a lot of the time this season we have been guilty of not taking opportunities to get away from teams and put the game to bed, and I felt it was a case in point in the first half. I thought we were very strong in the performance, and I thought we managed the game great up until the last 5 minutes or so. I thought in the dying embers of the game.
Yeah, you tell he's angry.
That goes what we were saying in the radio. You know, they should have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time, and that's game over. I don't think Motherwell coming back for that. When you're 1-0 down, going into the last 5-10 minutes, you start to throw caution at the wind. You throw players up front, you know, and it's very difficult sometimes just to hold out for that 1-0. You need that second goal just to kill the other team off, and Motherwell kept going to the end. Give them credit, but Derek McInnes' home form has kept him off the bottom of the league, and they need to keep that form up. You know, that's probably 2 points drop for him, and because away from home they can't pick up anything at all. So yeah, I think he'll be angry that they dropped 2 points in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, latest score down south: Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1. What about up there at Pittodrie? It was Aberdeen who got the win by 1-0. Here's what the Livingston boss David Martindale thinks of that defeat.
Yes and no, but you've not got a divine right to come out. At no point when the fixtures come out that I think I'm going to go up Aberdeen and get 3 points. It's going to be a difficult game. There wasn't going to be a lot in the game. We knew that before we came into the game. Even at the start of the season, coming to Pittodrie, it's a difficult game. It's always going to be a difficult game. I try and not look on it as a missed opportunity. I try and focus on the next game. There's 7 games. We've got a points collective that we know we probably have to try and get to make sure we're in the top 6 come the split. But what I've said to the boys is, you don't get it, doesn't just come to you. You've got to work it extremely hard. You've got to apply yourself. I thought the application in the first half could have been better. The desire in the first half could have been better in terms of aggression on and off the ball. So that's more the disappointing aspect for me, rather than losing points and we could have been and we should have been and we would have been. So I don't really look too much into that either, if I'm honest.
Yeah, he never minces his words when he's reflecting on a game, David Martindale.
No, he doesn't, and he's been getting a lot of praise this season, rightfully so, but the last few games probably not been good enough. Failed to score in the last 3 fixtures. 3-0 against Inverness, 3-0 against Rangers, and then 1-0 today. So they need to get back on track. I think they're they're punching above their weight still. If they can get in the top 6 this season, I think that's a really successful season for David Martindale and Livingston Football Club. But he's right, there's still a bit of work to do. You know, there's teams that are closing in around about them, and I think if they were to drop out the top 6 now after having such a great start to the season, I think he'd be really, really disappointed.
Well, he's got 3 home games coming up: Hibs, Dundee United, and Ross County. So that's 9 points.
There's 2 very winnable games against Ross County and Dundee United. But Hibs will pump them.
I was waiting to see if you're going to pick up on it.
I did bite Jaws.
I just thought I'd throw you a right hook before we go off here. What about the Viaplay League Cup final? I'm going to get your thoughts and your prediction as well. But what about the Carabao Cup final in England? Because quite simply, Manchester United will want to win some. I think it's 6 years since they've won something. 1969, the last time Newcastle United were celebrating. I think Bobby Moncur might have been the captain of Newcastle. So here's what Erik ten Hag thinks of the opposition, Newcastle United.
I think it's a great team. So it's clear philosophy about they want to play the game. So it's the keyword is intensity. So they do really well. It's an annoying team to play against. So we have to find a way to win them.
Annoying?
Annoying.
What, in what way?
They try to annoy you. And so we have to make sure that we play our game.
That's brilliant, isn't it? They try to annoy you. I don't think he likes the fact that they time waste in his mind.
Yeah, I think that Newcastle have got a lot of combative players in there. I think their defensive record this season is probably the best in the league. Don't think they score enough goals, but they're hard to break down. You can tell that the manager went over, Eddie Howe went over to Atletico Madrid when he was out of the game and spent, I think, 6 months with Diego Simeone, so you can see the influence of him rubbing off defensively, and they've got Kieran Trippier that played with them as well, so they're very hard. Newcastle need to score first for me. They have to score. If Man United score first and Newcastle need to come out and chase the game, I think it could be 2 or 3-0. If Newcastle score first, they're capable of holding on, but I hope Newcastle do them.
Yeah?
Oh,
well,
I hope Newcastle win.
I understand the romance of it for you. Alan Wood says if Rashford's fit, 3-0 Manchester United. I think I'd love to see Newcastle win. I agree with you. You know,
I don't think they're going to win.
Not just I think Manchester United will win it. So that's one thing. What about that win today for Aberdeen up at Pittodrie? The fans were absolutely delighted with it. 1-0 over a very good Livingston side. Here's what the caretaker boss at the moment, Barry Robson, made of it all.
Well, I've not looked at it, which is I'm always going to say that to you as well. Listen, we're not carried away. For me, I look at the players and I'm frustrated today because I just want so much more. I know they've got so much more. Do you know what I mean? And you go home tonight and every day, yeah, you've won, but I know I'll be home tonight and I'll be thinking, like I just want more because you see it in them. You see it every day in training. So. Listen, we've not achieved anything here yet. We're not anywhere near where we want to be. We've got a big game against United next week that we need to take care of as well.
Fair play to Barry, because all he can do is try and get every ounce of energy and commitment out of the players. If it's him, then that's a board decision. If it's someone else, then if he can keep steadying the ship until that new man comes in, I think there's certainly a place for him in that coaching staff.
Yeah, and the thing is, Pete, as well, he's putting himself in a shop window for other teams outside Aberdeen. He's doing well in this job as a caretaker. There might be managers, when somebody sacks a manager, might go, Barry Robson done well at Aberdeen. Let's go and get him. He sounded good. I think he sounds good. I like the way he speaks.
Yeah.
He wants more, he demands more. I think that's important as a manager. So it's not just Aberdeen at the minute. Obviously he wants to keep that job, get that job at the end of the season maybe. But it's other managers as well. He's putting himself in the shop window. He's doing well winning games.
Yeah, okay. The quiz answer we posed at the start of the programme, we asked you how many times have each side won the League Cup here in Scotland. Well, Rangers have the edge on this. They've got 27. Celtic have 20.
Wow.
So there's quite a considerable difference. A really good record for Rangers in the competition. But as you know, stats mean nothing when it comes to the game. It's all about what you do over the 90 minutes, possibly more. And it could be penalties. Who knows for that cup final? Of course, as ever, as we head towards the end of the programme, we give you the last chance to enter the competition. Here's Adam with the details.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. You can win this Lionel Messi Argentina World Cup winning replica jersey by answering this simple question. Who did Argentina defeat in the 2022 World Cup final? Post your answers in the comments section below. If you want to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be Adam's channel. He'll be taking over shortly because he always tells us when he's coming in, when he's on, who he's going to interview, how great a footballer he is. And now he said to us, I'll be on before the end of this programme at Pittodrie. And when he says that, you know what? I believe him. I think it's the Forrest brothers. And are we going for the McGinns?
No.
There's
I'm going
somebody
for
else.
Smiths. I'm going for the Smiths.
You've just made up the Smiths, haven't
not.
you? Okay, let's see if every day is like a Sunday. Adam, what's your answer to the quiz?
You're correct with Alan Forrest and James Forrest, but it's actually Sean Kelly and Liam Kelly. It's the other two sets of brothers. Sean Kelly, of course, of Livingston, that I was watching today, and Liam Kelly, Motherwell goalkeeper. So that's the two answers. By the way, I can't believe that competition clips came just before this, and I've realised I'm wearing the exact same outfit. Everyone's going to think I'm an absolute tramp for wearing the same outfit, so I do apologise for that. Not to mention the fact I'm standing in the middle of the pie stall as well here at Aberdeen, so sorry to all the viewers who have had this improvised backdrop put on them right now.
Yeah, the other thing about it, Adam, is Tom's saying get him some PLZ gear. You've got half the wardrobe in PLZ gear. You've got more than enough. Listen, we were talking there. You've watched the Aberdeen game, but the big story is Ross County defeating Dundee United by 4-0. Clearly, nobody wants to see a manager lose his job. But Adam, it's one of those ones where I think all of us will be looking at Dundee United. They've got a big call to make.
Yeah, and to be honest, Peter, I think he's got to go at this time in the season. It was a risky appointment in the first place. He's an inexperienced manager, but this time of the season, I believe that's them now 4 points off Ross County, albeit they do have that game in hand. You've seen already that it's working for other clubs, changing managers. Stuart Kettlewell gets his first 2 victories, I didn't quite go to plan today, and even today we've seen Barry Robson as well managing to get 3 points for Aberdeen. So I think if Dundee United want any hope of surviving this season, unfortunately for Liam Fox, he's got to go, and they've got to get someone with a bit more experience just to steer the ship till the end of the season.
And just before you go, you witnessed there Barry Robson. Barry Robson obviously steadying the ship and keeping it going. What was the fans' response to that win today? Because Livingston are a tough nut to crack.
The fans are absolutely delighted. I think you would have heard it in my full-time report as well. I couldn't get a word in. I couldn't make myself speak at the end of the match for the fans cheering the players off the pitch. They stayed for longer than 5 minutes after the full-time whistle went. The players applauding the fans off, and the players reciprocating that as well. And also, Peter, I'm not too sure, is that past 6 o'clock now? You should probably get in this show finished because I've got a train to catch, so don't keep me much longer, please.
Overtime.
He's even telling us when he wants to finish. Wait till you see his Sam Wardrobe piece when he's got his slow motion move.
Wait, I'm going to hammer him for that bun.
Brilliant. Good luck to Adam.
Safe journey down the road.
Yeah, well, he's driving the train as well, don't you? Because he's taking over the railways as well. Anyway, great from Adam. He said he was going to get in there. Give us your prediction tomorrow.
Celtic 3, Rangers 1, Hatate to score any time.
Okay, it's going to be narrow, but I think Celtic might just edge it with a sub scoring the winner. It's all about opinions. That's what you get here on PLZ Soccer on the Football Show. We're going to discuss that Viaplay League Cup final on Monday's programme. I hope you can join us. Thanks for watching.
Money Geordies!